Our sons and daughters. Ooh. You can fall asleep on sheets of gold and wake up as a pauper. We all get old, we all slow down as the walls they close. We fall, we drown, and I need some breathing space. I won't grow old with grace. Some breathing space. I can't keep living straight. Oh, we ain't gonna linger and lie when there's hard cash coming back. No way, I'll just sit here when I know that there's hard cash coming back. Hard cash. Don't want no easy money. Oh no, money couldn't buy me happiness, just a prettier misery. There's a price to pay for a life of luxury. Oh, the air is thin, the glare, the smoke and the wear within. It tears, it's choking. I need some breathing space. I won't grow old with grace. I need some breathing space. I can't keep living straight. Oh, we ain't gonna linger and lie when there's hard cash coming back. No way, I'll just sit here when I know that there's hard cash coming back. Hard cash. We ain't gonna linger and lie when there's hard cash coming back. We ain't gonna linger and lie when there's hard cash coming back. No way, I'll just sit here when I know that there's hard cash coming back. Hard cash. Don't want no easy money. Oh no. And now that we have all arrived, my friends, get in your cars and drive. And now that we have all arrived, my friends, get in your cars and drive. Gonna drive our blues away. Just another sunny day. Gonna drive our blues away. Just another sunny day. Roll up!
It's the Call of Duty circus and it's coming to your town. We've diving, flying acrobats and such capricious clowns. So hook up to a server, grab a seat and gather round. 'Cause the Call of Duty circus is coming to your town. Roll up and see the amazing moving statue sneak attack. He waits in corners till you pass, then shoots you in the back. He never moves or learns to shoot, so he will always blow. For all he cares about be the terrifying Ripper with his blade. His magic knife will end your life of one hit kills it's made. He'll lunge right through your bullets and he'll stab you in the toe. Then farewell to your controller, out the window it will go. It's the Call of Duty circus and it's coming to your town. We've diving, flying acrobats and such capricious clowns. So hook up to a server, grab a seat and gather round. 'Cause the Call of Duty circus is coming to your town. Come one and all, see all manner of curious creatures and furious freaks. Roll up and see the stealthy clown, so silent and so mute. You'll never hear him coming and you'll never see him shoot. He skulks around in secret and he gets the best of you. And when you die you rage and cry and curse his padded shoes. Roll up and see the amazing spinning, sniping 10-year-old. He's got more revs per minute than the disc in his console. Take care when laughing at his spinning choreography, for he plays real life on 14 sensitivity. It's the Call of Duty circus and it's coming to your town. We've diving, flying acrobats and such capricious clowns. So hook up to a server, grab a seat and gather round. 'Cause the Call of Duty circus is coming to your town.
Hello everyone and welcome to Final Show. I'm John, the executive producer here, and I've just got a few pre-show notes for you. First of all, I want to let everybody know that our addresses have changed. Our Twitch channel has changed from Senstaku to twitch.tv/FinalShowFilms, and our YouTube channel has also changed to youtube.com/FinalShowFilms. Next, we want to thank our $20 tier supporters on Patreon, which is patreon.com/FFilms, by the way, if you want to go throw a couple bucks our way. That's going to be Cat Waterflame, Antitonic, Samantha Bates, and Maureen Monty. Thank you guys for that. Also, our website is in the process of getting updated, so go take a look at finalshowfilms.com. We've got Mara and Jeremy are working on updating all of our stuff there, making it look nice and like a modern website, and frankly, they know what they're doing far better than I or Austin ever did. So if you want to check out the things that are changing over there, you go do that. Follow us on Twitter at Final Show Films for updates for all future things, including things that are going on with our website and going on with the Patreon page, and things that are going on live as we stream them, as well as our podcasts and everything else. So thank you very much for watching. Y'all have a good day. And we're live.
Hello, everyone.
I just realized that I never re-angled the cameras. People's faces are going to be jumping around.
While John controls the vertical and the horizontal.
I'm Drew.
Who am I? I gotta see.
You're me.
I'm.
Hello, everyone.
I don't have your hair though.
No one does. I am William, and I am your storyteller. At some point, I will be in the storyteller position.
You already were. You.
Okay, good.
I didn't have to move you, me, or Holly.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm your storyteller. Welcome back to Hunter the Vigil Terminus tendency. This New World of Darkness Chronicle. And joining me today, we have Jeremy.
Hello, my name is Jeremy. I am playing Nina. Nina, that is her name. And she's a rock star and a Satanist and a union member who beats up supernatural bad people.
Excellent.
Hi.
Hello. And Jack.
Hey everybody, I'm Jack. I'm playing Eamon Mulcahy, Malleus Maleficarum, servant to the church, and one of the Irish murder hobos.
And John.
I'm John. I'm playing Sean Mulcahy and also ADHD, the real game.
And Craig.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm playing Paul Phillips, Aegis Kaidoru acquisitions expert.
And Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. I'm playing Astrid Ashwin, Knights of St. Adrian.
And Aaron.
Hello, I am Aaron, and I am playing Drew, the Lucifuge scholar who's... Yeah.
I was curious if you had a follow-up for that. And when last we left off, the group had an interesting time trying to figure out what their next plans were going to be. There were a number of different approaches, a number of different attempts to gather information and see what could be found out about both the Colonel and any information that could be gathered from a witch up north, Madame Zarkova. But near the end of last session, the group was interrupted by a knock on the door, which Nina went to go and answer to discover Shakes at the door, stating that she needed a favor from the group. But before we return to that, we go ahead and leap forward to a dark, a undisclosed location in a dark room sometime in the future, as a gentleman continues to give a debrief. So, I know I've been saying every couple of chapters that this is where some real shit starts to get down, but this is where things start to get a little bit confusing and a little bit, well, I would call it a little bit dreamscape-esque, only that'd be a little bit too on the nose. As we start to deal with, I'm not exactly certain how to describe it other than how it's been laid out in the report, but this might be one of the strongest glimpses that we have had as groups of hunters in a long time into what it's like for those of the human race who have been subjected to the strange things that lead to becoming a changeling. And it's quite a trip beyond the Veil of Thorns, but you'll understand what I mean as we get deeper into that. And so we rejoin the group as Shakes has just been let into the apartment and has declared that she needs a favor.
No, Shakes was outside the apartment because Nina...
Oh, no, right, yes, because Nina went out to talk to her.
Nina went out because I wouldn't put down my gun.
Yeah. Yes, when Nina stepped out of the apartment to meet with Shakes, who has stated that she needs a favor.
Yep.
So she sort of looks at you. Yeah, this is I don't know how to describe, but I have a problem and I need some help, and I need help from people who aren't involved, which is you guys, as best as I can tell.
All right. I need to know what.
Okay. You remember the shootout that we had with some freebooters? I described to you how freebooters work among changelings.
Right, yeah.
They're getting a little bit subtler, and they're moving in closer circles. And they've got an amount of backup. And there's been a number of people who have been dragged away from the places where they hide and forced elsewhere. And I need people who I can trust, who I know aren't either being threatened by or directly working with or are one of these freebooters to... There's monsters that are not normal monsters that changelings deal with, and you guys are the ones that best know how to handle these things.
Okay.
All I know is someone's hideout has been torn through and wiped out, and there are signs that the people that lived there were taken elsewhere, and I need someone who can tell me what the fuck took them, and I need someone who can help me try and find them.
Okay. So there.
How much of this can the rest of us hear?
None.
How soundproof is that door?
Yeah.
How soundproof is that door?
How soundproof are most front doors of...
I would like to make a perception check.
How soundproof are most doors of people who live alone while they hunt monsters?
That's
Was what I was...
Yeah, I mean that's a question. You also have a studio apartment, like a literal music studio.
Yeah.
So you know how soundproofing works.
Like, I imagine it's not... the door is not soundproof, because that... taking a front door to that level is equally bad as being like tissue paper. But it's probably a pretty hefty door.
So yeah, if you desire to actively be listening, go ahead and roll me wits and composure.
2 successes.
I'm not in roll 20.
Oh yeah, that is a place where we should be.
I picture us mobbing up Three Stooges style around the door at this point.
I mean, Eamon was already there because he was waiting right on the other side with a big fucking knife.
I'm not. I'm sitting back where I was, continuing to hold my rifle and making sure that it's loaded.
Well, Eamon at the very least, Eamon, as you are next to the door, Shakes is not in a calm mood right now, so she's not being quiet about this, and so you can hear Shakes' end of the conversation at the very least through the door.
Can I
Paul-
get a
Paul as
perception
well.
roll to potentially see that people are listening in?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay.
How do you see people listening in through the door you closed
you
behind you?
know what I mean. Yes.
I got 3.
2.
I will say that you notice that there's a distinct lack of commotion coming from inside the apartment.
She paused, like, hold on just a second, Shakes. Pulls out her phone, opens up, like the home security app, hits the button to cause the the music to go on really loud, like, you know, your thing that controls like everything in your house.
Yeah.
Music goes up really, really loud.
There is suddenly
As soon as that happens,
feeling
Eamon is through
dog
the door.
joining the music because
I feel like Bad Reputation just starts playing at max volume.
there's a very distressed hell puppy.
I mean, to be honest, it's probably something more like, because this is our home usage. she listens to when she's chilling. It's probably something like Blackpink or something like that.
He said as soon as that happens, Eamon is through the door.
Yep.
Yep.
The knife is not in his hands. So,
Get in the house.
fuck you.
I want to have my private conversation here, and then I will talk.
Then
to you.
walk the fuck downstairs like a normal ass person and stop blasting it so poor little Crowley in there is wailing his heart out.
I have
Don't
taken
use my
aim.
dog as leverage in your argument.
I have taken aim at the speaker systems. And I call out, I might not be heard over the volume, but I call out in a fairly normal voice, if you don't shut this thing the fuck off, I'm going to blow your speakers out. And I wait to see if there's
And
a
Eamon
response.
goes back inside and shuts the door behind him.
Can Paul just unplug the amp?
I mean, you could walk right up to it and turn it off. That's how those things work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Power
Does not
button.
mean there aren't buttons on the front.
Yeah, I think that's what happens then. Paul just sort of staring blank-faced at Sean the entire time, just walks over without breaking eye contact and just goes, boop.
You see, Paul, the problem with that is that doesn't teach Nina a lesson.
Guns are not remote controls for your life. I thought you'd know this, being an assassin.
No, they aren't. However, when someone's behaving like a petulant child, it does serve to remind them that they're dealing with adults and to behave like one when you blow out the thing that they're using.
Right. So the way you're going to teach it that the behavior that you're modeling
Asking to
here.
have a private conversation in a home you own and being upset about people piling up to listen at a door is not particularly childish. I don't like Nina.
I'm not talking about asking to having a private conversation. I'm talking about the response being to crank up the volume on people who weren't bothering you. I say indicating myself and you and Astrid and the dog, rather than the two pointing at Eamon and Paul who were trying to listen in and just walking away like a normal person would.
Sure, because the way we model behavior to teach adult behavior is to shoot things we don't like.
Oh no, shooting things someone else likes. You take it away.
I'm assuming.
Regardless, the situation is handled. And
Sean,
Nina will fill us in when she feels
please, for the love of your God, never have children.
I never intended to.
That does my heart good to hear.
That isn't to say I might not already.
What does that have to do with it?
I'm assuming Nina and shakes head to like the recording booth.
Yeah.
So the two
On
of
the
you
way
had.
down. Sorry, I was under the mistaken impression that my I don't even know what to people I work with would respect privacy. Silly me.
I work with people who have a lot less respect for a lot of things. Trust me, it's not surprising.
Fair enough.
But you head down into the recording studio and shut the door. This area is soundproof because it's for recording.
All right, so let me see if I understand this correctly. Somebody has been killing a big. Tell you what, start over again. I got distracted.
Yeah. So I was doing my routine checkups on some of the people that I've set up with safe houses in the area because I've set them up. I need to check on them occasionally to make sure they're all right. Changelings have access to sort of an in-between place. We call it the hedge. And we can set up safe houses in this in-between place so it's not in the real world as we know it, and it's not in the bad place where the people that took us from live. And
Okay.
it's sort of in this in-between place that is not safe, but away from the things that are typical threats to us.
Right.
Something got into that place, and it wasn't any changelings,
Okay.
and has 2 different safe houses have been ransacked, and while there are signs of fighting and injury, there are no bodies, so they're not dead, they've been taken. And I need to figure out what it was that was able to get into a grotto and was able to steal changelings, because it definitely wasn't anything native to the hedge.
Okay. So I think yes, that is definitely something that I can. I feel like we can probably look into, because that. I mean, it might cross with some things that we're working on at the moment, and even if it doesn't, that doesn't sound like somebody that we want wandering around. That said, how best to put this? I think it's fair to say that trust is not going to be high among my fellows of you.
I get that. I understand.
Trust is fair to middling, leaning towards middling with me, but really low with others, certain ones in particular. So what I'm going to need, I think I can definitely get us on this, but the best way I can describe it is just full goddamn disclosure for anything that we need about in relation to this.
Sure, we're talking lives here. I'm willing to
Right.
share.
Exactly. Otherwise, okay. Well, let's go up and try and sell this.
Sure.
Head upstairs. Open the door. Walk in.
Shakes follows after.
All right. So it's very conceivable. More people have gone missing among Lake's people. Sounds like they've been able to get into some pretty secure places. I'm thinking this might be relevant to us.
Has Shakes ever seen Colleen?
Pretty sure.
Trying to think back.
Yeah, because Colleen was with us.
Yeah.
When you went to deal with the werewolves, yeah, Colleen
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so
she-
she's at least
but-
seen Colleen.
Well, I don't know, because she stayed in the van with
she did
Sean
not.
and Drew.
No,
She was out of the van.
Colleen stayed back with us and didn't go into the fight between werewolves.
Yeah.
But
No,
she was
this was
not.
also after all of that, after all of that, there was the cleanup and the meetup, and Colleen followed Nina over to the
Yeah,
changelings
Colleen actively
Yeah.
went over with me. There might
while
have
we
been
were
some-
cleaning up with the werewolves.
Okay.
Yeah, she's at least seen Colleen before.
All right. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, so
So I'm not speaking for all. I wasn't going to speak for all of us, but I figured this might be something that we're interested in, considering who we're currently trying to track. Thoughts, concerns, agreement, disagreement.
Some details would be lovely.
So you're thinking that some of the people that we've been trying to track are the people that are responsible for disappearing their folks?
I mean, we know that they've been doing that. We just don't know for sure it's these people. thus the big massive arms and limbs that were outside earlier.
Yeah, that's less disappearing and more just fucking murdering.
I mean, they disappeared before they appeared dead.
Well,
They were moved and then arranged and stuff.
that's a good question. Shakes, was it?
Yeah.
I assume Nina told you about. We found some of your people.
Yeah.
Does it seem like these would be where those people came from, or is this more recent?
No, this is definitely more recent. Like, I talked to these people a few days ago.
Okay. It's always worth keeping track of. But if this is still worth looking into, even if it's not the same person, because if this is not them, this is a potential target they would go after.
And if nothing else, if it's something else that we're not aware of, at this point we need any information about other things and other people who are being drawn to this city as we can.
Shakes, I'm willing to help if you'll answer a question.
All right.
What is it that brought your people to the city? And who told you about it, or how'd you find out about it?
I'm assuming you're talking in the broader sense, like everything's been moving in.
Yes.
That would be the Iron Wreath.
And who told you it was here?
People have been having dreams about it, and changelings and dreams are... We have a special relationship with dreams, shall we say.
And so this is many people have been having dreams about it, or one person's been having dreams about it?
A good handful of people high up enough in changeling society and with enough of a particular affinity for dreams that they're not necessarily intelligent to ignore.
And while I don't necessarily care what this iron whatever thing actually does, is it something that could reach out and call on its own?
We don't know enough about it. It's... Supposedly the Iron Wreath is an artifact that could, if used right, prevent the things that caused our situation from getting into our world to take more.
So it's a defensive item, not necessarily something that would call out on its own, though you don't know.
We don't know.
Paul raises a finger and he says, "Apologies if I'm the only one who's behind in this conversation, but what are those things exactly that you and your compatriots are concerned about?"
How familiar are you with fairy tales?
I remember them from my own childhood, and I read a good parcel of them to my own children.
You know the old, like, Brothers Grimm fairy tales, especially the Irish ones, about fairies that steal children in the night and replace them with replicas made out of straw and screws?
Sure.
Those things.
So real Midsummer Night's Dream sort of level of fairies.
Worse. Shakespeare was very romanticized.
Fair enough.
Can you shoot him?
We can try.
Sorry?
Our best bet thus far has been hiding and trying not to let them notice that we're here.
Would these be the things that have potentially done this?
I hope not, because if they are, that's worse.
William, being Irish, I don't know if that helps at all. Can I make a? Can I make a?
I have a racial specialty in.
Can I make some sort of roll to think about classic, classic folktale
To be
like
fair,
defenses?
I feel like your Irish heritage is counteracted by the fact that you were raised Catholic.
Oh
So-
no! Nope. Nope.
Can I think of any sort of classic fairy tale like defenses against fairies?
Roll me intelligence and occult.
Would it be possible
Any-
for Eamon to make
any-
that 2, given what he's up to right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Any modifiers for being Irish?
I will give you both a +1 for being Irish.
Ah, one success.
3 successes.
Is
I'm a
that actually
paranoid
not even
motherfucker.
bad? Considering how much Eamon it's been. Yeah.
So the one that springs to both of your minds, you're not certain how exactly you would make effective weapons out of it, but the thing that springs to both of your minds is cold iron that has never known the touch of a flame.
Mhm.
I could probably fashion a couple of bullets out of an old iron fence.
Oh, I mean, you could conceivably.
Without flame?
I mean,
Yeah, grind it down.
yeah. You just grind it.
It's probably gonna fuck up the gun, but it'll work
Once, yeah.
once.
It's less of a bullet and more of a spike.
Well, what about shot?
Yeah, I could probably do that a bit easier actually.
Yeah, cold iron shot would probably actually be easier and better. Yep. Good call there, sir.
So, Shakes, tell him what you told me about what it isn't likely to be, and
Yeah.
that hedge thing and
Yeah.
stuff.
So let me explain the hedge a little bit, and I'll explain. So you're all familiar with monsters and the fact that there's weird shit that exists in this world.
Really?
There's also other worlds, to put it simply. And there's one of them called Arcadia, which is where the weird things that take people come from. And we call them the gentry. They're the fae, the fairies of legend, the things that steal children, the unseelie court. And there's a barrier between Arcadia and the real world called the hedge. It keeps the gentry out of our world, and it keeps our world out of Arcadia. And changelings have learned to build homes and hide in the hedge when need be to get away from Arcadia and away from the real world when we need to. Something that was definitely not changeling and not native to the hedge has gotten into 2 safe houses and managed to subdue, injure, and take and drag away the changelings that lived in those hollows. And I need your help because not only are you the guys who specialize in monsters, but also you're not involved in changeling politics, and I don't know if there's anyone on the inside working here.
Well, I've got some preparations to make.
William, given that I sort of specialize in dreams and to some extent changelings, do I have anything that clicks for me with that explanation?
There will be a little bit. I'm going to see if you have more than what I'm going to tell you right now. Go ahead and roll me intelligence and occult.
Okay.
Plus half of your status. Round up.
1. Got it.
Okay.
I'm gonna spend a willpower on this too. So it's +3 for willpower, so +4 total.
Yep. Force aggressive. Nice. From what you understand of dreams and changelings, the hedge is sort of like a dream space from what little you know of it, and it's not much. Because it's definitely one of the more secretive aspects of changeling society. It's a thing that is sort of rumored among people who specialize in hunting changelings, is this sort of extra dimensional space that changeling can flee to. And the rumor of it is that it is sort of like a dream space in that it's psychoactive to the changelings and other creatures that are there, and sort of reacts to the wants and needs and feelings of the creatures that are inherent to it.
Okay. From how you talked about your hedge, sounds like it wouldn't be a place that it would be expected a mortal could get into, or most other monsters normally.
Yeah, that's part of why I'm very concerned, because that that glamour, that energy that I asked for in payment for helping you guys out with the meeting that you wanted to eavesdrop in. That type of energy is usually the only thing that can open these doors without very particular rituals. And only changelings can really wield that energy. Which is why I'm very concerned. Because the things that tore up the two hollows that I went to were definitely not changeling.
And how are you knowing that?
Changelings don't do that kind of damage.
Well, since we can't physically, is that even the right word? Physically inspect. Maybe you could tell us more about.
I said only changelings could open the doors. I didn't say only changelings could walk through.
My mistake.
If we have any questions, now's the time to ask.
No, I have one.
Promised full disclosure on this.
Not to be crass, but you have brought up the issue for payment for our involvement before. What's to be exchanged for our involvement?
Nina asked for full disclosure. I'm willing to share what I can. We're talking lives here. There are people whose lives are in the balance. I'm not exactly in a mood to be cutting deals. Just whatever you need, whatever I can provide.
In that case, does it seem... You said a changeling couldn't do the damage, but a changeling would have needed to let this creature in, correct?
As far as I can tell, which is part of what's got me scared.
There's no other ways you know of that somebody can get in?
I mean, there are particular rituals, but they're not something that someone would just intuit, and they're things that typically changelings have to figure out by themselves. Like, it's sort of natural clause of the... Like, we're talking fairy tale stuff.
Right.
Like, clip off a fingernail and put it in a crack kind of thing. Like, it's not something you would just intuit to open a door.
I mean, that's my next... Okay, so there's my next question. Excuse me for going full CSI/Batman here, but was the door just normally opened, or did it look like... I don't even know what forced would look like in this situation, but...
The problem... Doors to the hedge are temporary. And they're not, like... I wouldn't be able to tell if it was forced. They can be forced. You can use glamour, like I said, to force a door open. But
Everything you're saying makes it sound like one of your own did it then. I'm not sure how you've convinced yourself that it's not one. Because if it's a door that can only be opened by your kind, and if it's a secret, and if the way to open it is a secret, archaic, whatever, something as silly, something as odd as putting a toenail through a door or whatever, or through a crack or whatever, then the only people that would know it, and the only people that would be able to find it, and the only people that would be able to force it open if they didn't know how to open it, are all your people.
Bit of an Occam's razor is what I think my brother's saying.
And I've yet to meet, and I'm not sure what you're talking about, how a changeling couldn't do the damage that you saw, but I'm pretty certain that there's very few other things it could.
I've met a lot of changelings, and I've met a lot of different kinds of people. I've never seen any combination of changelings wreak a tornado of destruction like I saw inside both of those.
You're gonna
hollows.
have to be more specific then.
I think what she's getting at is saying that we're going to have to go have a look.
We're gonna have to see it for ourselves. You're not saying that a changeling couldn't be the type of person to do it. It sounds like you're saying it's simply not possible, as near as you can tell.
Yeah, I don't know any changelings that have that kind of destructive power.
Good look. We're not gonna find anything sitting here with second-hand accounts.
Yeah, I'm not denying that a changeling could have opened the door, but I'm terrified of what kind of creature this is that will be willing to work with a changeling and not just, I don't know, eat it.
Could a changeling, if captured, be coerced into opening the door?
I mean, you can coerce someone into doing a lot of things, but
I don't know. I mean, that
theoretically, yeah.
that you have to be willing to do. Like,
I mean, it's something you have to. It's something you have to do intentionally, yes. But theoretically, yeah, you can coerce someone into opening a door.
Okay.
Do changelings usually invite non-changelings in?
Not usually, because that's. I mean, I'm taking a big leap of faith in trusting you guys with the hedge. You don't typically trust someone who doesn't know about changelings with the hedge.
Right. Fair enough. But if it was like, let's say, open this door, I'm going to set you on fire.
If they didn't want to be set on fire, they could open the door, yes.
Fair enough. Let's go.
Can I think of any items that the changelings would have or that might be related to changelings that the Aegis would be interested in?
I'm trying to think of a intelligence and we're gonna tell you some larceny and add your conspiracy dots.
Okay.
Meanwhile, I'm trying to think of anywhere that I can find a wrought iron fence that I can think of at the moment.
I mean, at least in my admitted limited experience, your church.
6 successes.
Nice. So
follow my nose.
Changelings have a lot of weird things. Changelings make a lot of very interesting magical trinkets. And you're not always able to make use of most of them because a lot of them use that weird energy that she's talking about, that glamour stuff.
Right.
But there's a few of them that normal mundane humans can make use of. And they're all sort of fairy tale items, like, lucky coins and stuff like that. And but the thing that really stands out is supposedly changelings or creatures that work with changelings are able to bottle experience, like literal experiences, which is something that the Aegis is always very keen on, is like memories and dreams and experiences just bottled up in a consumable format.
Okay. Then Paul will say, all right. Then you can count me in. If you can provide us with a 6-pack of sensation.
She looks at you sideways and
Banner.
kind of like,
Fuck it. I can't protect you, idiots.
Wait,
what
kind
kind
of
of
weird Japanese import beer are you looking for?
are you looking for a dream or like? Because I can give you a dream if you really want one, but
No, the real stuff. Distilled and set aside for later dates.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm going down to my motorcycle, but while
What the
we
fuck are you
profiteer.
What the fuck are you talking about, Paul?
I'm in this to actually help the city. If you want to make profit off it, go ahead. I'll be
You
waiting.
don't make profit out of fucking fairy shite.
You also don't have to volunteer for free.
You're right, you don't. I am.
Look,
I head off.
look, you death-wishing motherfucker.
Astrid's gonna follow Nina.
This girl here has made deals with things and people that you would have probably shat your pants before you even got finished hearing the stories about. Don't think you can out-bargain this girl. Shut your gob, do what we need to get done, and then get the fuck out before anything worse happens to you.
after Eamon finishes saying that, you look over at Shakes, who's just kind of like got her head down, kind of looking down for a second. She looks up at Paul. What kind of emotion are you looking for?
Paul cocks his head and says, actually, Eamon brings up a good point. Have any recollections of any dealings with things other than yourself?
You want to experience my bargaining with Winter?
Does that make any sense to me?
Nope.
Does that make any sense to me?
Sounds like a wild ride, is what it sounds like.
As a fairy hunt.
You can make me another intelligence and occult.
Okay.
Cool. Do I get my status this time or no?
Yeah, you can use your status.
Cool.
Paul is just going, do you mean the season itself?
Four successes? Maybe?
You know that changelings, part of their abilities is sort of animistic in that they have forged an amount of connection with natural phenomena. And so you think she's being quite literal when she says her bargaining with Winter.
Okay. Well, I have no idea if Paul wants that or not, because I think he's kind of silly for wanting any of this, but it's interesting to me that I know more than he does.
Yes, like, do you want to experience the bargain that I struck with Winter?
Does that, with the previous 6 successes, I assume that sounds like something...
Yeah, that sounds like something
probably something the temple would like to have.
Yeah.
Then Paul says, sure, that will do it.
All right. I'll preserve that memory for you if we survive this.
Paul nods and smiles. Says, all right.
I'm
Next
rolling
time.
a thing to see how much self-control Drew has.
An amount.
Yeah, okay.
Right, well, if you could text, if you could...
Bargaining, just be clear. He seems to consider something for a long moment before drastically changing his tactic. If this is the thing we're looking for, and it's not a changeling, you're okay with us taking it out, dealing with it?
Please kill it before it can take any more changelings. Yes, please.
Okay.
If you'll text...
That's what I want out of this, is that ability to make that call in that context.
Absolutely.
That works for you.
If you'll text us the address, my brother and I have to go pick up a few things. Brother?
Sure.
We're gonna go find a fence and chop off bits of it. Also, In response to Jeremy's previous statement, it's actually harder to find a wrought iron fence in Atlanta than that because all of Atlanta was burnt down a long time ago and rebuilt with more modern materials than cold wrought iron.
You just got to look a ways away from Atlanta.
Wait, you actually rebuilt things? Sorry. We didn't really put the stuff away after we burned down.
No, there are very few old places that still have cold wrought like iron fixtures.
Some of them are here. Some of them are here in Loganville.
Yes, some of them are out here.
William, was Eamon able to get through to Father Seamus?
Yeah. So you put up the phone call with Brother Seamus, and he told you he'd see what he could find in regards to anti-ferry equipment.
Okay.
He would see if he could get his hands on any like cold iron knives or anything like that.
We should run by talk to Seamus before we head out. I already got him started on that.
And as we're driving that way, I am just looking for anything that looks like it might be cold wrought, like a cold wrought iron fence.
Graveyards.
As you guys walk downstairs and walk to your car, angry Nina sitting on her bike smoking just sort of waves. Are we done selling? Are we done with our blood negotiations or?
Fucking Spanner is going to end up dragged off to God knows where, and he's going to spend the next 3 centuries in Terminus, and he'll come stumbling back as a decaying skeleton.
Arcadia, apparently, Colleen says as she's walking up behind you.
Whatever they want to fucking call it.
I just got confirmation that if this thing is as it's been reported and we find it, we have permission to kill it, because I thought that was valuable to us and valuable to her.
Weapons free? Hi.
From me, Shake says she's the last person out the door.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I have to be sure who we have permission from, because there are a lot of competing organizations in play here, and I was really prepared to say I don't give a shit whether I have permission from.
Looking back at Shakes before I get in the van. No offense, but I wasn't really going to ask permission in the first place. I was just going to shoot it.
I want you to shoot it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Shakes. It doesn't matter whether you would have wanted. If this thing is a threat to a city, same thing that I've told you before applies.
It's a threat to my people, so
And to the city, so bam.
Go for it.
Right, well, text us the address. We'll meet you there.
And actually, you could probably very easily make, like, it would take a little while, but you could probably very easily grind down a piece of iron to fit inside a bullet jacket. Yeah, I could probably shell some iron bullets.
Given a couple hours.
Yeah. In addition to some iron
fun.
shot.
So the Mulcahy's didn't just peel rubber and leave. We're all leaving together.
More or less.
Yeah.
We're just making some pit stops.
The Mulcahy's have to break off a bit. They have to go visit some spaces.
We haven't left yet,
I'm
though, if
taking
you
my
want to
own
join
card
us.
because my credit card will not be used for black market weapon purchases this time.
The church's grey market at worst.
Where is the address that we're headed to?
Based on the address that she gives the Mulcahy's and describes to the group of you, it's sort of a mid-rent apartment, like in like the middle of the sort of the Gwinnett County sort of Lawrenceville area, off of like right off between a couple highways. It's like this series of townhouses next to a Walmart.
Paul will call over to Eamon and say,
That's where Astrid lives, by the way.
It is.
It's in Astrid's fucking apartment.
Paul will call over to Eamon and say, how long do you think you all will be?
Well, we've got to find a fence. We've got to find a fence, an actual fence, and grind and break away parts of it. Then we've got to go talk to our more metaphorical fence about getting pre-made bits for hunting fairies. Then we've got to make our way back to Lawrenceville, so it will probably be an hour or two.
All right.
Got an hour. I have something to take care of if we can meet there.
Sure. Paul nods and looks over at Colleen and says, "We've got a bit of extra time. I'm going to call a lift. You want to go get some fast food, or maybe something not greasy this time?"
Sure, why not? You're one to talk, British person, about greasy food.
Paul grins and says, "That's what I was going to suggest. Anything." And then he pauses and considers. Says, "Do you like Greek?"
What do you mean non-greasy food and you go to Greek?
Right?
The greasiest of greasy food.
He's reconsidered.
You know what?
Drenched in olive oil? Why not?
You know what? I've got an idea. I'm hungry too. Let's go. I've got a plan.
Did Astrid see the address, by the way?
Yeah, it's in the middle of Windy Hill on Hillcrest Green. The Green's at Hillcrest.
Okay. But before they all depart,
Yeah.
Astrid's gonna say, "This is my apartment complex."
Wait, what?
Yeah,
You've got
I
fairies.
mean,
in
like
the
I
walls.
have a
Actual
townhouse here.
apartment complex.
Yeah, well, like I've got a townhouse here, but it's like townhouses and
Wanna
apartments.
chat- Do you want to phone a friend right now and see if that friend is okay?
Yeah, how
Oh,
many friends do
crap.
you live with?
What time is it right now?
It's like
Is it daytime?
it's mid-afternoon. The sun will be setting soon.
We might need to find out if you've got fairies in your closet.
Astrid, I assume you would have piped up before now if you were the one who was, shall we say, this force of
I
destruction.
mean, Astrid does
And
have a
if
torture.
you weren't going to tell us before, you're not going to tell us now.
Astrid does have a torture chamber. You might be the one we're hunting.
Eh.
Really?
I'm just saying. Got to be open to all possibilities.
Okay,
Someone is leaving a wake of destruction that doesn't look like it could have been done by a normal person or supernatural creature in this group. Actually, no, that's probably either Colleen or Paul doing something he doesn't understand with a magic thing.
Oh, I could leave a trail of destruction that looks like I didn't do it.
Okay.
Looks
New
like
plan.
you didn't do it. Yes. Looks like Guns did it.
Astrid's gonna immediately like step aside and call her brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to buy you time to.
Yeah.
So you step aside.
Sorry, go ahead.
Mhm.
You step aside and pull your phone out and call. It rings and rings. It gets to right before it would have picked up voicemail before the phone picks up. It's too early for me to wake up. You're lucky.
Okay. Yeah, I know, but I have to make sure you're alive. Are you okay?
Well, I won't be okay if I step out of this closet and the sun's still up. But yes.
Okay.
She just asked her vampire brother if he was alive.
Shut up, Eamon!
Can we not talk about that in front of our changeling friend?
That's why I was whispering it to
I
my
will
brother
sort of
so nobody-
smile at Shakes.
Okay.
And give a shrug.
It's hard to tell whether you're
That's fine.
whispering it to one person.
Sorry, I should have said.
Eamon was whispering it to me.
Yep.
Yeah, to Sean.
Okay.
I just look over. Yes.
I am trying. I'm holding out to the conversation, but I am trying to say something while this conversation.
Yeah. So when that conversation, when the phone conversation ends,
Yeah.
cover what Ian was saying. So yeah, anything else, Asher?
Okay. Okay. I can't explain everything over the phone right now, but I'm coming to you, and there might be something happening in that area, the apartment complex where you are.
Should I get Alexander over here? Do we need more backup? I don't know.
I don't. Okay. First of all, wake up. If you're asleep, it's easier for them to drag your body out of the closet. Dust. Okay.
Sun's not down for it.
I don't care.
Fine.
Okay, don't worry about Alexander for now. First, just let me get there.
Okay.
Hangs up the phone, immediately falls back to sleep.
I was gonna say $5 says he's asleep as soon as the phone call.
Sorry, Terminus.
And so she'll hang up.
That's going on. Okay, new plan. Mulcahy's, you go and be the ordinance creating psychopaths that I know you love to be.
Spray of
There
grass.
they went. I like the idea that Eamon drove off,
No.
but Sean wasn't in the car yet.
See, no, Eamon
John's
just makes
grappling hooks onto the back of the car.
Eamon
or
just
something.
makes that noise and runs to the van while I'm holding the keys in my hand.
Banging on the door.
You go do whatever you were gonna do.
Get in, you lazy bastard!
I don't know what that was, but it seemed like you had a plan.
I don't.
I'll take our guest out to lunch.
Here I go, making my move.
I'll go with Astrid just to sort of scout out the apartment complex.
Any requests while we're out?
Pick me up something murdery.
Paul shrugs and says, I wouldn't mind if you've got an extra blade, great. Also, if you are picking up shot, as long as nobody's standing in front of me, I probably can't do too much harm in the wrong direction with the shotgun.
Really easy to accidentally shoot your own foot off with a shotgun. I'm not going to give you one of those.
All right, then just a knife, please.
We brought you a shotgun that shoots knives.
It's a gun, Frank.
A gun that shoots knives.
Knives.
Take one.
I'm glad that the four of us knew that reference.
Oh yeah.
I then calmly walk over to the van, get in, turn it on, drive away.
Okay. So the Mulcahy's go to get cold iron.
Yep.
Paul and Colleen go to get fast food. Very
no,
Greek.
I'm going to get Greek.
Yeah, Greek.
I feel like those things are not mutually exclusive.
There's probably some kind of Greek fast food place.
There is definitely Greek fast food places. You
Yes.
guys not have those?
I'm sure there's somewhere around the
there
street. I haven't looked.
Yeah,
I'm sure they do, but
No,
the
there's
point
a-
was not fast food.
Yeah, there's one like on the edge of Florence, so.
yeah. There's a couple of like Greek sandwich places that do like all manner of fast food versions of Greek.
I think. Okay, so I think this plays out by Paul looking up this and then just getting really depressed that everything he's finding is also fast food, even though it's Greek. And then he says, have you ever been to a good deli? And we'll try to find a kosher deli.
There are
What's Drew up to in this time period, or is Drew also just heading for the?
Drew is probably heading in that direction, but not heading there immediately.
Hey, Drew. Are you hungry?
I thought I said I had something to do.
You did. I
said
just wanted to. Okay, cool. Do your thing.
calls a lift. Yeah, and I'm just gonna rent a cheap but private motel room.
And head there for right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a thing to do, obviously, but
Yeah. So you head there, and then Astrid, Colleen, and no, Colleen's with Paul. Astrid and
Nina.
Astrid and Nina and Shakes are headed for.
If Shakes is coming with, that's fine. I wasn't sure.
I mean, Shakes has to open the doors, so...
Yeah, but I wasn't planning on us going inside.
Yeah, Shakes has nowhere to go but over there, so...
Okay. Cool.
So let's
The whole point of us playing up was not so some of us could only a few of us would go in and look at it.
Oh yeah,
It was
absolutely.
for all of us to get ready and then meet back up and go in.
Yeah. So we'll start with the Mulcahy's as you arrive at Our Lady of Lords.
Did I spot a fence on the way? Like at a graveyard?
Just roll me a d10.
9.
Say yes. You find a graveyard on the road.
Stop. Get out. Get back in the van. Eamon, go break that off.
Fine.
Roll me. How do I even go for dismint?
We still have the crowbar, I'm sure, in the...
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Roll me strength and larceny, +1 for the crowbar.
I just like the
Could
idea
be
that
strength and
Eamon pulls
athletic?
out like the personal blowtorch as like
Sure.
Frank.
Sure, you can go with strength and athletics if you want to.
Okay.
I'll say if you take a blowtorch to it, it stops being cold iron.
I was going to say, at that point, it kind of... Well, I mean, we'll see.
Oh, no. All cold wrought iron means is that you didn't melt it down and cast it.
I was gonna say, because otherwise grinding it down puts almost as much heat on it.
You know,
Successes.
You don't... The difference between cold iron and not cold iron is you didn't melt it.
Yeah.
You didn't bring it to a melting point.
Yeah,
Physics
correct,
becomes very problematic in I did not shape this using heat.
Right.
Yeah. So you take the crowbar and ping, 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 knock 3 of the very tall fence posts out of this coal iron fence.
Huck them up under my arm and haul ass back to the van. Throw them in with all the subtlety of knocking an entire dumpster down a set of stairs. Drive furiously away from non-existent cops.
I don't drive furiously away. I just like the idea that Eamon is like hanging out the side of the door, pretending it's an action film, as I'm very calmly getting up to speed.
I like the idea that there's some guy in a third-story apartment going, "Here, someone's stealing the fence. Should we? It doesn't matter. Whatever."
Welcome to the world of darkness. No one cares about your wrought iron fences except for the changelings.
Yeah. Get to church, and while Eamon goes in to talk to, before Eamon goes in, see if he's got however many knives he's got, and if he's got any shot or anything like that that's already made. I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna spend that time grinding down basically I want to. How many poles did you get? How many spurs did you get?
3 fence posts.
3 fence
3
posts.
stars, basically. Yeah.
So
3 iron.
basically, I want to take one and sharpen it into a spear,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other 2 I'm going to start figuring out. I'm going to start figuring out how to break them apart and grind them down into shot and boards.
Roll me. Trying to think what attribute should go with that on a crafts roll.
Well, first, when did we put a foundry in the back of our church?
That's fair.
If we have the ability to make bullets, which I'm certain we do, then you have a file. Then you have a file.
Since when do you have the resources to make bullets?
Since we have to make bullets that are not standard bullets, like silver bullets and other things and the like.
Anyway,
Okay.
I'm talking to Brother Seamus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like literally,
I
all
will
I
say
need is a file and a hammer. That's not foundry level equipment.
I'll say you also have a belt. I'll say there's also a belt sander in the basement of Our Lady of Lords where Seamus does his work. So
There you go.
okay, Seamus does a lot of the ready-made crafting of specialized weapons.
Yeah, he's got a workshop down there.
So you head down to speak to Seamus.
Seamus, my lad.
And again, you're greeted with the bright orange sort of mohawked and mutton chopped figure in the priestly robes of Seamus. You know, it's a very odd looking priest. Looks more like a wrestler. As he sort of turns to face the group of you. Well, if it isn't the Mulcahy's, cold iron, is it?
Aye. Looking for something slashy or stabby.
Well, I've got, and he flips a pair of objects. I got 2 knives.
Perfect.
And I've got 1 shotgun shell. Just the 1. It takes a bit of time to fold these into pellets that are actually useful.
Oh, aye. Hey, brother, you got 1 shot. And he tosses it to Sean.
Don't throw it away.
Should fit your, pistol blam things.
I do have a
Okay,
Thunder
make
5.
sure you don't miss your chance to blow, because this opportunity comes only in a once in a lifetime.
I was making a different reference, but yeah.
I
No.
understand, but when you say 1 shot, there are like 3 things that alternate between clicking in first place in my head. One of those is 8 Mile.
Fortunately, my knees are not weak, nor are my palms sweaty.
No spaghetti?
I don't have any spaghetti. I don't have any mono spaghetti.
What's the damage rating on these knives? Is it just 1 lethal or what?
Yeah, it'd be 1 lethal.
Okay. All right.
They can only take so much damage before they break because they're made of
Cold iron.
wrought iron, but yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And I'm just as with anything, cold iron weapons just do aggravated damage to Fae, as especially
Yeah.
like bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, they're not going to do aggravated damage to anything else new.
just roll me a quick dexterity and crafts just to see how far you can get with the equipment at Seamus's workshop.
Do I get any bonuses for my profession?
You're a hitman?
Yep.
Add half, round it up. It's not something that directly applies effectively, but it has an amount of
I'm
overlap.
going to spend a willpower. 3 successes.
Nice. So I'll say you're definitely able to sharpen one down into a spear. That's relatively easy. You basically just press it against the belt sander for a couple of rotations until it's got a nice sharp point. Like the knives, it can only take so much before it'll shatter because it's made of wrought iron. And I'll say you were able to make you're able to basically break down you won't be able to make any bullets because that'll require a lot more time and effort to actually make them fit to a jacket, especially with
I
the
could
powder
probably make
charge.
some solid slugs though for the shotgun.
Yeah, you can make probably 2 solid slugs and 2 more buckshot.
Solid slugs are actually probably easier.
Yeah, because it's basically
buckshot?
you can probably make 3 solid slugs.
So I would forego making buckshot just to make solid slugs. From shotgun.
Yeah. So you probably make about 3 or 4 solid slugs.
Okay.
Because that's essentially just making a dollop of wrought iron and sticking a black powder charge on the back of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just here's a shotgun shell. Plink, tunk. So 4 solid slugs plus the cold irons. Was it a slug or shot?
That was buckshot.
So I've got 5 cold iron, one's buckshot, 4 slugs, or the under 5, which is good because that's the full extent of its magazine. So it's fully loaded with cold iron right now. And then I'll toss the spear over to Eamon.
Yeah. Fair.
The spear can probably take more than the daggers can, but again, it has a limitation.
Regular damage on a spear?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's literally just a piece of fence post sharpened.
Awesome.
So after you guys are done with that, you start heading over to the apartments.
Yep.
So Drew, you had a thing that you needed to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna head into whatever motel I've rented a room at. Just go to the mirror. She said that she could give us a dream. I know not to take things like that, but well, it's always tempting, right? So I reach out, place a hand on the mirror. I guess it's not quite the same for you, but I do wish we could really talk.
And just ever so faintly, it might be your imagination, it might be something else, but as you begin to turn away from the mirror, you just get the ever so faint thought that the expression on your reflection is filled with just a bit of sadness that isn't quite your own. But
It turns out all right in the end, Jonah. I promise. Yeah, and then I'll just kill time until I need to head to the meetup.
And then, of course, Paul and your efforts to find some decent Greek.
That's what we do. No, honestly, I think he changes tack and gets depressed, and we'll try to find just a nice kosher deli.
You really can't make up your mind on what you want to eat, can you?
He smiles and says, I just figured something that we didn't pick up from a drive-through or that was delivered after we saw someone light themselves on fire, just a place to just sit down for a little bit. That's all. And I was thinking, I don't know, my granddad, he had a deli, and just want to see maybe if there's some place like that around. You ever had pastrami on rye?
I can't say that I have, surprisingly.
All right. Well, there are a lot of problems going around. I'm not exactly sure what we're going to do about all of them, but that is one problem we can fix this afternoon. Assuming we can find a deli around here somewhere.
Yeah, you can find a deli. There's at least an angle somewhere around.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go in. Paul will order sandwiches. Just double check that she's okay trying this new kind of sandwich.
Sure.
And then sit in a booth or a table or whatever they have.
And she kind of, while she's chowing down the sandwich, she kind of looks over her right hand a bit, just sort of examining the tattoos that are snaking up her arm. And she kind of glances over them.
How's it feeling?
It's strange, but not bad.
That's, I guess, cautiously optimistic would be the way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Paul stops and wipes a little mustard off of his beard and says, listen, I know you grew up surrounded by actual magicians, but you ever learned any fake magic?
What, like street magic?
Well, the fun stuff. And he pulls a coin out of his pocket and will walk it along his knuckles. And then, at least, if you want me to roll for this, I will, but we'll sort of, and then make the coin disappear.
I'm assuming you can do basic magic tricks, yeah.
Okay. and then we'll reach over behind her ear and pull it back out.
You know, there are definitely, supposedly, mages who do that kind of stuff and then incorporate their magic into it, but that wasn't really the style of the people that raised me. They were very much sort of the monastic tradition style of interaction with the world.
Sure. But I mean, just even setting aside things that they did as part of their traditions and so forth, I mean, what do you do for fun? Has that even been a thing you've been allowed to do?
Fun is fleeting and subjective. For the most part, it was practice, study, rest, repeat for most of my upbringing. And then occasionally there were movies that Brother Kindness would bring me.
And he pauses for a little bit and says, "Can I tell you something that's maybe sort of funny?"
Mm-hmm.
My mom was a magician, not, a mage, but just street magic, like you said, sort of thing. Did birthday parties for little kids, that sort of thing.
It's nice.
It wasn't when you were a kid, It's the last thing you want to know is that your mom's doing a party down the road. But yeah, everything that you grow up and you learn that the world is the way it is out there. And I don't know, sometimes I kind of wish, and he runs the coin over his knuckles again and says, sometimes I kind of wish I could go back.
You cut out the last half of that sentence.
Oh.
I lost.
The world, you learn that the world's being what it is. And you wish that you could go back to thinking that magic was just this. And he runs the coin over his knuckles again. He says, "Hey, maybe this is silly, but you want to give this a try?" And he sort of will do it more slowly.
She takes the coin for a second and kind of flips it over her fingers a little bit. She's very clumsy with it.
Okay.
And she kind of does it a couple of times, and then she kind of runs it over her hands and then drops it for a second, and there's a poof of smoke and it actually disappears.
Okay.
Huh. I wonder... And she reaches over behind your ear and pulls it literally out of thin air.
Okay.
There it is.
Paul will lean back and clap. And I will point out the one that she's holding right now is one of the one-eyed kings.
And it is still a one-eyed king when she pulls it back out.
All right.
Really well into what's
Paul's heart skipped a beat there for just a second.
And
it's still a one-eyed king. It doesn't work anymore, but it's still a one-eyed king.
And he says, "Well, you're certainly a faster learner than I was, but let me ask you the real serious question. What do you think of the pastrami?"
She looks at it for a second and says, "It's a weird meat, but it's not bad. I don't mind the flavor." And after she chews on it for a second, she kind of looks back at you. I made a conscious effort not to eat the magic in that coin, by the way. I know you kind of want to hold on to those things.
Paul shrugs and smiles and says, "Honestly, it's a sort of thing. I'm just so used to moving them around. It's good that you can hold off if you want to."
Whenever I get my hands on something that has an innate amount of magic, I feel sort of a pull, like a sensation trying to draw it into me. And I've learned to, after that first time, it caught me by surprise, but I sort of figured out that I can tell it no if I really need to not.
Paul nods. Look, just to let you know, if you're curious, they're the sort of thing that we use to kind of keep tabs. I tend to leave them around, and if you run them over your knuckles like I showed you, not that one, don't do it with that one, but the one where they have the left eye, you can put them up to your eye and see out where the other one is. So
What's wrong with this one?
it's the right eye. That one can see, but it can't be seen through. Or rather, it shouldn't. I'm not exactly sure what you see, but people who've tried it, well, just don't try it.
I will remember not to. She sort of hands the coin back to you.
He'll put it down on the table and kind of slide it back over and say,
Barbara
"Look,
Streisand.
I've got an extra set that I'm going to be picking up. If you don't want to carry it around, I certainly understand, but I wanted to let you know what it is, what it does. And look, just things are bad out there. And if you want to carry it, if you want to try to, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure the right word, consume it, whatever you're most comfortable with, absorb, you can. I'm not sure what it would do, but maybe it would help us find you if you needed finding. Don't do it, now, but we're going to do our best to make sure that sort of thing doesn't become necessary. But if it does, I just want you to have the option.
She takes the coin and kind of flips it over her fingers a little bit, slightly more dexterously this time. Kind of puts it in her pocket. Okay.
Paul finishes his sandwich and he says, "Look, checks the time." He says, "Well, we've got a few minutes before we've got to go out." But and he'll reach into another pocket and say, "How about something with no magic whatsoever?" And he pulls out a pack of cards. He said, "I'm betting you never learned how to play Go Fish."
That was actually one of the only card games. Mostly Brother Kindness. That and not poker, but blackjack? That one.
I have to ask, what did you play for if you were playing blackjack with a bunch of mages?
Mostly just practice. It was sort of a card counting thing. If I could figure out the probability of the next card coming down, then I was doing it right.
Christ. Well, I don't want to make you relive that, and this isn't an exercise, but you want to play the stupidest game ever. All luck, no skill whatsoever. It's called war.
Huh. All right, and you guys play a little bit of cards for a while.
All right, that's everything I wanted to do.
Yep. So yeah, in a few hours. Well, actually, let's go ahead to the guys who get there first.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
things need to happen before
Yeah.
everybody else shows up.
Yep.
So with Astrid, Nina, and Shakes as the group of you arrive at the Greens at Hillcrest.
Right. So Shake, do me a favor. Let us just sort of scout the place out, stay back here for the moment.
Okay.
For reasons, and we'll just understand that I'm not explaining why. How's that?
You're giving me a hand. I don't care what you want to explain or not.
Okay, fair enough. Silas and Astrid, lead the way. Use your home.
Yeah. She'll lead the way.
Yep. Are you heading for Astrid's apartment or for the one that was noted?
Do you want to check on someone first?
What time of day is it right now?
It's probably about half an hour before sunset.
Let him get a little rest. Let's check out the other one first, and then I will go
Okay.
check on him.
Okay. Question. I know I'm not. This isn't exactly a how to put it. This is not necessarily an original thought in this group, and I've been kind of neutral on the idea before. But there's something, and I swear I was going to have this conversation before the last 30 minutes. Does something seem a little bit sketchy about how much Paul seems wanting to keep dragging Colleen away from all of us for alone time?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I haven't really taken much notice of it, but
I haven't either until recently. It might have something to do with the fact my noticing might have something to do with the whole magic item debacle.
I mean,
But it put something in fairly sharp contrast for me.
I've just thought that he's protective of her.
You're not wrong, and
No,
that was my
he's got
concern.
kids of his own, and like he probably just takes up that father role.
You're not wrong. That was my thought at the time. Now I'm having another. Yes, some loud neighbors. Who has some very vampire-like names. No.
This world's version of Percy is 2 rooms down that way, and the same hole 2 rooms down that way.
Or just someone's watching Critical Role in the room next door.
That would also work.
But so I just need to say this out and tell me I'm crazy, and then I'm fine. But Paul, I was looking at the name in our video program at the time.
Craig Paul.
When you were expressing your concerns about someone,
No,
a younger woman,
Paul.
could you please use my character name?
Paul, I'm sorry. I just happened to be literally looking at the name.
Paul Craig Phillips.
Paul is part of an organization who is very interested in magical items, right?
That is true. Yes.
Paul has shown that, well, it's been smoothed over since. Frankly, he doesn't give a fuck what we think when magical items come into play. Colleen's a walking magical item.
You are correct.
That's where my concern comes into play.
No, I don't think you're crazy. I think you should be concerned there.
Okay. All right. Well, I was hoping I was just, letting the fact that just about everybody in this group pisses me off at one point or another cloud my. But okay, fair enough. Let's go do some scouting.
Okay.
All right, so you head to the apartment that was designated, and it's it's like at near the back. Like this area's got some pretty winding turns, and it's a bunch of townhouses all sort of stacked up next to each other, and it's sort of like near the back. There's like one road that goes all the way past the rest of them, and then there's just these three townhouse buildings all lined up at the like far away from everything else that are just by themselves. And it's one of the rooms on the far right of the townhouse buildings. And you sort of look over at the door, and it's marked with I should know which number, but I don't off the top of my head because it's been a long time since I was down there, so I don't remember which building that is. But you go to the room number designated, and it's not locked.
Okay. I subtly withdraw a weapon, push the door open.
You push the door open, and you are greeted by the lights that have been left on in a sort of carpet upholstered living room. There's a set of stairs that leads upstairs to the second floor of this townhouse. The living room leads back into a tile dining room and kitchen. There's a table with some plates that have been set out but never had any food put on them. There's a refrigerator in the back, the TV in the living room. It looks like a fairly typical townhouse.
Okay. Nothing that seems out of the ordinary at all.
Just go ahead and roll me with some composure.
Okay. One.
Can I roll that too?
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Two. So the walls are a little well worn, like the paint's starting to peel just a bit, which seems a little bit odd because most of this place is in pretty good upkeep. Aside from there's this strip of the wall that heads up the stairs that seems to be starting to peel. And Astrid, you also notice that there are distinct footprints in the carpet heading up the stairs where the carpet has been depressed and refused to stand back up, like something just kind of permanently pressed the carpet down.
That's strange. She'll point out the footsteps.
Okay.
Eamon's not here, but I assume this is something they would have noticed right off. Are they human-shaped footsteps?
Yes.
Okay. Just check.
I'm guessing this is
I did think
not
it
our
was
fiery
kind of-
friend, or everything
Yeah.
would be turned to ash.
Unless he has the ability to turn it off.
True.
I mean, I would assume he has the ability to turn it off, because otherwise he wouldn't be able to go anywhere.
You do remember your conversation with the spirit speaker of the werewolves, that supposedly the werewolf had seen someone covered in bandages following them around, who was distinctly not on fire.
Also on fire.
I mean, there's
Definitely covered
also,
in bandages.
and even if it's not him, there is the accomplice.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the two of them.
Would seem to make sense. I'm not willing to have to jump further in until everybody else gets here. Cannon fodder's a thing. I'm joking. Kind of. But I can go back and duck with Shakes and be distracted if you want to check in on your brother.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I will go back and I will chat up our changeling contact.
All right. Astrid, you heading to your house?
Small talk.
Yeah. Astrid will head there to check on Archer.
Yeah, so you head up. You head to your apartment and head up the stairs. Everything seems to be in order.
Okay. Is it still sunlight outside?
It's starting to go down. You imagine if you opened the closet door, he wouldn't immediately burst into flames. You just have to stay in there and not go anywhere for a bit.
She's going to shut the blinds and pull the curtains, just to help.
Yeah.
And then she will open the closet door.
And you open the closet door and you can see he's kind of like half curled up and he kind of blinks open an eye and just sort of like half-heartedly just kind of goes
Really?
I don't want to go to vampire school today. Calling in torpor.
Yes.
You are the one who shut me in a closet.
Okay.
You
I said
don't
this
get to
was someplace safe you could rest. I didn't shut you in here myself.
Come on out, Tom Cruise.
Also, you're the one that keeps coming back here, so.
Yeah, well. Yeah.
But you're okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Is the sun down yet?
Almost.
Cool. I will stay here until it's down, then, if you don't mind.
So, there's something. Do you know much about changelings?
I only know what I've heard about them from other vampires, which is that it's a real trip to drink from them.
Right. There's a changeling that we've been communicating with, and apparently some of her people have been taken. And we were going to investigate one of their houses, and it's here in this complex.
Huh.
Probably by that psycho killer person we are looking for.
You want me to come along then?
If you want to, once the sun completely goes down.
Sure.
You're no good to me as a pile of ash.
I'm no good to anyone as a pile of ash. Kind of leans, sort of readjusts himself and leans against the back of the closet instead of curled up against the side wall. You know, lying in one position for the majority of the day in an unmoving death-like state will give you a real crick in the neck.
I would imagine.
Anything else, or are you just going to stand there and watch me until the sun goes down?
I mean, you're amusing, but I'll be outside once, it's not so bright. Come out.
Once I'm not going to catch fire. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. She will go back out.
All right. Head back out, and about an hour passes before everyone meets up, including Archer. Because after the sun is firmly beyond the horizon, and the group of you meet up outside of the designated apartment. Eamon, you are able to sort of find some leather that you can wrap around the haft of the spear to sort of make a basic grip.
Cool. Right, so we're going to help this situation out, and then I would dearly love if we never see them again.
Who are you talking to?
You.
Oh. Who are you talking about?
fucking fairies and shit.
Oh, well. I imagine not seeing them again probably not in our hands as far as it's concerned. Considering that we're trying to figure out what the hell's drawing things into the city, we're probably going to see more of them.
Is this before you guys showed up or after?
Before we get out of the car.
This is like literally as we're getting out of the van.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I just wanted to make sure because it wasn't. Yeah.
Don't worry, brother. You'll be able to stab something at the very least, and that'll calm your nerves.
Right. Let's go see what sort of bloody mayhem's been running about this place.
Get out with a spear made of with what looks like a fence post that has some leather wrapped around it and some daggers. How many of those pig stickers did you get, by the way?
Go.
Yeah, give one to me.
Right, you give the second one to Paul.
Yep, will do.
Shakes and I are probably just sitting because we're just sitting back where I wouldn't have taken her any closer until everybody showed up. So we're just sitting in the apartment driveway area, watching you guys just talk behind the van.
Drew probably shows up around the same time, if not a little earlier.
Oh, I should do this to get this out of the way, Shake says as she sort of pulls out like a small crystal vial out of her jacket pocket, sort of pulls a cork out of it, sets it in her palm, and kind of presses a hand to her forehead, and kind of like slowly pulls this like small silvery essence out of the side of her head, and sort of drips it into the vial where it sort of turns liquid, and she corks it up.
right off.
Amos, get your ass back over here.
Let me know when they're done with the weird shite.
They're done with the weird shite.
You're done with the weird shite.
Your mom's done with the weird shite.
You know Mum's never gotten off the weird shite.
Is there any chance that when you hand that off to Paul, it's going to drive him insane or something like that?
I mean,
the answer I'm hoping for is yes, for the record.
maybe it's my conversation with a fundamental force of nature, so it depends on how he handles that.
Okay. I'm totally okay if that's what happens, because when you try to profit off saving people's lives, that's what should happen to you.
Mm.
Oh, look, Paul's showing up.
As the lift shows up at the apartment.
When I see Paul, I pull out the dagger, the second dagger, and just sort of embed it in the ground by his feet. There you go.
All right, what'd you get me that's murdery?
Nothing.
I specifically asked you for something murdery.
I hand over the cold iron dagger.
Thank
The
you.
other one.
Paul picks up the one that Sean threw in the ground, scrapes off the mud as best he can with the sole of his shoe, and then I guess tucks it into his belt.
Lose your balls that way if you're not careful.
My balls aren't located on the side unless something's gone horribly, horribly wrong.
I don't know how you English lads are built.
I dress left, but not that far left.
Anyway, be good to see how you use your new techniques with that thing.
We are talking about the knife again, right?
Oh, aye. This time.
Whatever.
I pull out. I just sort of pat the Thunder 5 on my hip. All right. Well, we've got 2 daggers. He's got a big pokey stick, and I've got 5 shots. So hopefully, whatever it is, if indeed it is, if it's fey of nature, we have 5 shots on the 3 of you to get through it.
I am so excited for this not to be fey at all.
Well, in that case, I have to do some quick reloading.
Paul smiles at Nina and says, I suppose if that's the case, we just follow our standard plan, which is throw whatever else we've got handy at it, right?
I mean, those are still pig stickers. They'll still stab into whatever. It's just that they'll do extra stuff to fake creatures.
If the church is to be believed, which 9 times out of 10, they're right about half the time.
This isn't the church. This is Brother Seamus. We trust Brother Seamus.
We need to be clear, though. 9 times out of 10, they're right half the time. But still, a percentage of that time they're right. They're still actively lying in order to suppress the truth to their advantage.
Don't
Yes.
come at me with your Steiner math.
We have taught Jack well.
Also,
And my comrades.
they lie to you.
Yes, I'm sure they don't lie to you at all.
They don't lie to me because they know what I do if they do.
Regardless of who's lying to who and where and what and why and when.
We just created a country song.
We can have a look at the interior and see if we can figure out what the shite's going on.
Either way.
Alright, so you guys head over to the apartment. Shakes opens the door, and again you see this interior apartment that is mostly well upkept, except for a few oddities that Astrid and Nina are able to point out.
Investigation roll?
If you want to.
Like I said, I've been ADHDing hard
Boom!
and have no idea what we're walking into.
Eamon walks in, keyed up to the max because somebody said fairies, and looks through time.
Composure. Any bonuses for my profession?
Not in this
Join.
particular case.
Okay.
Not in this particular case.
Can I spend a willpower?
Yes, if you want to.
Only 3.
Okay. So, Sean, you notice the before they even mentioned to you, you notice the discoloration and the aging on the wall and the awkward footprints that have refused to go away in the stairs. Eamon, you notice all of that, and also on the back wall up the stairs, there's a very clear spot where a bookcase has been shifted to the side, and you can see the silhouette where the dust used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Of where that bookcase used to be sitting, of where there's no dust.
Okay. Can I draw any conclusions from the weird aging on the paint?
Same.
Roll me wits and occult.
Okay.
Both of us?
Yeah.
Nope. I'm looking at that bookcase.
1 success.
It looks like rot has set in on the wall, like dry rot, like bad housekeeping style of this place is falling apart, except the rest of the apartment is fine.
Now, why would only this wall be dry rotten?
Does it seem to be following the footprints at all?
It's heading up the stairs with the footprints, yeah.
Yes. Oh, so whatever walked through was rotting the place as it was going.
Also, they moved that bookshelf.
Can I think of anything that rots the world around it as it moves?
I mean,
Cartoon skunks.
I will look to the more physically capable members.
McDonald's?
I mean, that's an attribute attributed to a number of different beasts. So, I mean,
Is there anything in that I could narrow it down to? Anything like
Demons, witches,
yeah?
I mean,
more
both
demons.
all 3 of those things, yes.
demons, witches. Okay. All right, brother. Let's move the bookshelf. See what's behind it.
I'll look to Shakes. Is that related to your thing, or is it?
No, that's not a thing that. At least we wouldn't want to do it if any of us could.
Actually-
She says, looking at it.
Actually, before we touch that, brother,
No, I was asking about the bookshelf.
Oh, the bookshelf. Oh, sorry. Yes. The door is right there. She says, indicating the spot where there's no dust.
Before we do that, brother, real quick, I'm going. If everyone could join me in a quick prayer.
Are you kidding me?
You know exactly why I ask you to join me in a prayer. Shut up and get over here.
No, I legitimately don't.
He's going to do his eyeballs.
The thing that I've done, that I've given you like 5 times now in the past, where you can see things that you normally can't see.
Okay, yes, I will consent to stand there quietly, and pretend like I'm praying and not actually pray. Cool.
You have to pray for it to work.
Oh, well, that makes the last few times confusing, but that's fine. No, I'll pray. I will totally pray.
This is gonna be fucking gold.
I don't have to pray audibly, right?
I'm fucking with you. No, you don't. Only I have to. Anyways, I'm aiming for 2 each, which means I have to keep rolling until I have 2 each.
It is probably good because then Drew would have had to punch me.
Hail Satan!
The more you talk, the harder this gets. That's better.
There we go.
2, 4,
You're
6.
Dark Lord and
I
Max.
don't have to punch you. I just have a
Okay,
particular.
4 more.
Ah.
Hey, I got an extra one. All right. So I'll get 3, and everyone else gets 2.
Go.
No, you're a normal human. I don't have to murder you for worshiping Satan. I just have to distrust you.
So, all right. Turn on your specialized. So you can all roll. Blah 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 blah. Resolve +2. Each of you gets resolve +2. I get resolve +1. Turn on the true sight.
So you get resolve +3 because you yourself 3 dice.
Sorry, I get resolve +3. Sorry, I meant +1 to the 2 that was already there because that's how my brain
Yeah,
works.
I get you.
1 success.
Your eyes are on.
Yay!
3 successes. My eyes are super on.
Your eyes are on.
Super on.
Fortunately, it's literally only a binary state, so it's either on or not.
Asteroids are not.
Nope.
Nina's eyes are on.
Paul and Drew also have it.
Oh,
Yeah,
right.
I'm wrestling with the dice roller.
See, the awkward question about
I have a +1, correct?
You have a
Yeah, plus
plus
two.
2. Resolve +2.
the awkward question of whether I'm just a normal mortal is if I get empowered by this while I was praying to somebody I shouldn't be praying to, does that make me cry? See, I provide deep philosophical.
You don't really. You just like to think you do.
You're a walking metaphysical experiment, yes, and we're all very grateful for the fact.
Taking advice from me, which you are not prone to doing in general,
Not as a
you
rule.
can get power from something while not believing in or agreeing with it, as long as you are conscious that the power comes from a source you don't agree with.
Congratulations, you've been blessed by God, whether you like it or not.
So,
All right, Nina.
I mean-
I understand. I do the more interesting things by the power of God. He does the, more practical things.
How is
Now that
bringing
I-
people back from the dead not more interesting than stabbing them? Anyone
that
can
I-
stab people.
You don't know the sort of research that I've been doing with the help of some of the brothers that are ladies.
Anyone can stab. Anyone can stab something and make it dead. It's a lot harder to make it not dead again.
This is
Look,
true.
what's important is now that I have some weird site-based direct connection to God, I can tell God where he can lick me. Now can we go?
You can, but I'd be careful because he might.
those of you who have activated your true sight can see in the outline of the area where there is where there's no dust, there is the ever so faint pattern of leaves that just ever so faintly sort of outlines the area where the dust is at.
I can see the door now. I look back at the rot.
It becomes darker and more black as you look at it with true sight.
Can I determine what that means?
It means it's not natural is what it means.
Like, does it seem similar to the demonic taint that I cleansed from the gas station previously?
Not quite. And as you're having a look at it, Archer kind of puts his hand up to it and kind of runs a finger across it. And kind of,
Archer's here now?
yeah, Archer's been here.
Does it look like...
Hey there,
Archer-
Virgil.
You know, I can see your actual face now. It's unpleasant.
What, paler than normal?
No worse. Anyone that has the true sight on can see.
To be fair, he's a very well-preserved vampire, so his face is just gaunter and paler than normal, and the fangs are more obvious, and the eyes glow yellow.
We just have that. We have this sort of like demonic look on him, as opposed to what.
I just meant that I forgot out of character that he was there. So I was picturing Paul forgetting too, and just going, huh.
Yeah.
So he kind of like runs his fingers across it, kind of inspects it in his hand for a second. This looks like Tenebrous shadow magic.
Does it look like magic to me?
Whatever you said, your mic didn't pick it up. Probably because your hand's blocking the mic.
Did you mean obtenebration?
No, he said Tenebrous as in the stuff of shadows.
Okay. Because Tenebrous, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Yep.
I hear Tenebrous, I start thinking of
Star Wars character?
no, Giallo movies.
Yeah. No, Obtenebration, the discipline, Tenebrous, the stuff of shadows.
Fair enough.
Residue.
I think Tenebrous was also the guy who killed Primus in the Modron March.
I mean,
also, Obtenebration isn't his discipline.
I was gonna make a joke about Tenebrisses happening. I just couldn't word it right.
Yeah. This looks like shadow magic.
Just couldn't cut it.
To get that done, you'd have to go a moil a minute.
We're gonna get the look that equates to being punched in the face.
I stand by it.
This kind of shadow magic is vampire tricks.
What you're saying is a vampire waltzed through here.
I mean, something like a vampire at the very least.
Say, are there?
I unload the cold iron rounds and load back in my dragon breath rounds.
Shakes is still with us, right?
Yes.
Possible this happened at night?
It was like this when I got here this morning, so it's definitely possible it happened overnight.
That significantly increases the chance it could be vampiric activity.
Have a look on the interior, shall we?
Yeah, here, let me open the door for you, she says as she steps up.
Was Nina trying to say something?
Yeah, but the moment is long since passed.
Sorry.
As Shakes steps up to the door and kind of steps up to the door for a second, takes 2 steps to her left, kind of walks her fingers along the bookshelf for a minute, grabs one of the books off the shelf, steps over back in front of the door, smacks the book against the door in specific places, opens the book, tears a page out, puts the book back on the shelf, and slides the page diagonally across the wall. And then a moment later, there's a shimmer as the wall itself falls away and opens up into a stone corridor.
Eamon manages to not piss his pants.
That's the most overly complicated way of opening a door I've ever seen.
Oh, it's not the most complicated one that I've seen. This is just the one for this door.
I was thinking they were librarians there, but then you ripped the page out and I decided it was something different.
Gonna be all right, brother.
Rob.
Well,
Are you gonna freak out if we see another one of you on the other side?
Well, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I am.
That's what brothers are for.
Welcome to my world, she says as she steps into the corridor. Does anyone follow after her?
I'm following.
Yeah, I'm
Sorry,
going.
give me just a sec. Sorry, somebody doesn't know how to do timestamps, so I had to do a little bit of fixing of things. What happened?
She opened the door in a very complex ritual that involved a book and ripping a page out.
All right, yeah, I'm going in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paul will head in the middle of the pack.
All right. Is Eamon the last one in?
Eamon's waiting.
Everyone else has gone inside.
I don't go all the way until Eamon is following. So I will stop in the doorway.
Fuck this shite. All right. Is Colleen with us?
Yeah.
What?
We don't have a babysitter.
And I assume she just walked in, yeah?
Yeah, she's
God,
right in.
that would have been good to know. Because there would have been a whole conversation.
Yeah, I kept on trying to have that conversation, but I got talked over, so I just let it happen.
And Eamon will step in.
Do you want to have that conversation?
I mean, I just somehow didn't notice that Colleen was there and then suddenly noticing. There's been too much that's passed.
Right. So, you guys step in. The after you all step in, the door shuts behind the last of you.
I sing a nursery rhyme that I don't know, but Sean would know about children being kidnapped by fairies behind Eamon as he walks through the thing.
Eamon turns around and just punches him right in his fucking face.
Eamon does what we've all wanted to do this whole time.
Damn it, the merit of being someone's sibling so that you can punish them for their jackassery.
And then he pats him on the cheek and turns around and keeps walking.
As you walk, the tunnel opens up into a very much sort of the dark stone interior. It almost looks like the inside of a castle. Almost, it's sort of this very like stone bricks with torches lining the walls that sort of provide an amount of illumination. And you begin to see that sort of destruction that she was talking about, as you can see deep furrows taken out of the walls in like claw formation, like a series of 4 claws that just ripped through the wall. And there are sections of floor that have been shattered and ripped up, and pieces of the ceiling have been pulled down and slapped and slammed into walls. And what looked like had been doors are splintered across the surface behind them. There are, like, this place looks like a bomb went off and then someone came through with a bulldozer afterward.
Paul is looking around at the stonework inside. Looks over at Shakes and says, all things considered, I should have asked you where you get your architects. I assume this wasn't standard with the subdivision.
Let's just say that every changeling is their own best floor planner.
How do you manage to make everything you say sound so fucking English?
Right? So, I'm gonna go out on a limb here. And This seems even extreme for vampires.
Yeah, Archer says, over from somewhere else in the room.
This seems more like the big furry death ball level of destruction, which is leading me towards a very concerning thought process.
Storyteller, do the vampire hunters spot any signs of vampires in this room?
Roll me, what's your composure?
Zero successes.
3 successes.
Zero.
I got punched in the
Eamon.
face earlier. I can't find anything.
Eamon, you're on particular edge, and so you're looking around, and you can see more of that black rot on some of the walls.
Bits here, more a bit over there. They've got, hey, it's our same rot monster.
Or it's a rot monster and something else.
Or it's something that has a pet rot monster, sure.
A rat monster.
My point is, if that looks more vampire-like outside, this looks like something else. This suggests the possibility of the kind of team up we don't want to have, because that's when you get a title like Vampire versus Werewolf. Whoever wins, we lose.
William, outside it only looked like one person coming in, right?
Yeah. Well, there was only this one set of footprints that had been depressed into the floor. Whether or not...
Presumably due to
Only
the
one
rot,
person
yeah.
with rotting footprints.
Yeah, only one person with rotting footprints. Again, it's been cleared out by the destruction, but can we get any sort of a sense for how many people were in this room?
I mean, yeah, if I could, like, investigate.
Sure. That would be whoever wants to roll it can make me wits and investigation.
Okay.
And multiple people roll it?
Sure, yeah.
I will spend willpower.
Sure, why not?
I would also like
Nope.
to see when Nina
4.
says that.
Ooh.
I would also like to see if anything looks particularly wolfy.
I go around and start going Batman.
Yep. So as you're all sort of pouring through, and Nina and Drew both kind of look around and spot occasional like bits of blood that is not quite natural hues. Especially with your true sight on, you can in Eamon's case.
And Nina's
Well, particularly for Eamon, Nina had more successes. Eamon spots like some of this blood has a bit of a shimmer to it that is definitely not natural. It's got like sort of a faint, almost glitter-like shine that seems to like catch the light. Nina, as you're looking around, sort of inspecting, sort of trying to place where individual damage might have been related to an attack on an individual person. And as you're placing, you would, and as you sort of get a feel for the area, there's a couple of different rooms in here that have been battered down. Just based on the size of this place, you would guess that there's no more than 4 or 5 people that were living here when the attack came in. And aside from that, there's only one door that hasn't been completely broken down, which is at the far back of this main room.
Okay. I'll point at the door. Jakes, where does that go?
I've only been here a couple of times, so I don't know the layout by heart, but if I had to take a guess, probably out to the hedge proper.
If I go over there and open that door, am I going to get sucked out, or can I open it, look out, and then close it?
Yeah, you should be able to walk out on your own.
All right. I walk over, open the door, and see if there are any signs of, like, a tree of dead people, or like
So as you open the door,
a snarling, like heaving, like heaving creature, or
I
at
need
which point I
you.
would shut it and go, Paul, it's for you.
As you open the door, go ahead and roll me a resolve and composure.
So
Okay.
mean. So mean to Paul.
I mean, again, I'll be honest, that was just simply you're the person I was looking at that time. It could literally at this point be any 4 of the U5.
Hey, I'm not saying it's not earned.
It's a comedy
after
bit.
pointing out that it was mean.
No, it's the comedy bit of open the door, close it. It's for you.
2. So you made it. As you open the door and look out, you immediately have to blink a couple of times and focus and make sure you're seeing what you think you're seeing. Because you open the door, and as you open it, as it goes from it transitions from you pushing out to it falling down as the door transitions into a drawbridge that falls down out. And as you look down, you find yourself looking out over a moat that drops down into sort of emerald shimmering green waters that surround this almost castle-like enclosure. And as you look out across the moat, you see this massive, entangled, thick jungle environment with these massive walls of thorns that sort of form like this maze around the outside of this area that sort of blocks any particular attempt to see, and these huge giant thorn-like trees that reach out of sight as the entire sky is just a line of in what seems like infinitely tall trees, and you have to just focus and take in what you're seeing for a second before you can really take in the environment as you are greeted with the full grace of the hedge and you are not a changeling.
Nina stares for about 2 seconds, shuts the door.
I was going to say, there's a little bit of detail that you notice that before you shut the door, there is an amount of blood that you recognize, that sort of sparkling blood, that sort of, there's a faint trail that heads out into the madness that is the hedge.
Okay. Shuts the door, turns around, starts walking along the way, does the bend down, grab Colleen, pick up in fireman's carry, and is just walking out.
Go ahead and roll me strength and athletic, because she's going to try and not be grabbed like that.
But were the rest of us able to see through the door at all?
Willpower.
Sure, go ahead.
There's one.
She had 3. So you try and scoop her up, and she manages to just sort of push aside.
Grab wrist, keep walking.
What is wrong with you? She says as she pulls back.
I'm not here. I'm not going to be here anymore. And since there's somebody who doesn't have to be here, you're coming with, because we don't have to have you here.
I want to be here right now. Thank you very much.
Paul looks over and says, "Look, if you insist on being here, I'm not going to grab your other arm and help carry you. But Nina's got a point. It may not be a bad idea for us to spread out a bit, and some of us to be outside just in case the others don't come back out."
Look, I've been sequestered for most of my life because I'm connected to some kind of supreme power, some bank of unknowable energy.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're talking about that in front of the supernatural people.
Shut up for a second.
She walks out.
Fucking. there are people in trouble and I have an opportunity to do something and I'm someone with a unique set of skills. I'm going to try and fucking help people.
I believe the lass has made her point known. I say, looking at Paul.
Paul shrugs and says, like I said, I just wanted to say I didn't think it was a terrible idea. You're your own person. I'm not going to tell you what to do.
See, maybe I should be the one to look out the door, or Shakes.
I mean, out there's the hedge. I imagine it's probably not the easiest thing to stare at.
Can you safely look out the door? Tell us if there's something there that might be relevant to this.
Sure. Yeah.
Like
let me take a look.
Not equipped for it.
Yeah. Let me take a look.
Thanks.
She. By the way, those of you with True Sight active can see under the mask that she wears, it just looks like a normal sort of vaguely punk person.
Mhm.
She looks like an ice elemental. Like her entire frame is made of ice and snow. Her hair is completely white. Her eyes are a crystalline blue. Her skin is like ice crystals, and the outfit that she wears is almost like a flowing white dress that reaches down almost to the floor.
Does Immigrant Song start playing?
Just vaguely. And there's this sort of like faint aura of snowflakes that just kind of drifts around her.
The memory, excuse me, the memory that she extracted, that's tucked away. We wouldn't be able to see that with True Sight at the moment, right?
Yeah, that's under her clothing. So
all right.
Eamon's gonna follow Nina whenever that becomes relevant.
Yeah, you follow her outside if there's a conversation you want to have out there. While that's happening, Shakes kind of steps out, looks out the back door, returns after a couple seconds. There's a little bit of blood leading out into the hedge, if that's a trail that needs to be followed.
Let me take a look. I'll go take a look.
I just only resolve in composure.
I'll do a willpower on this. Steely nerves.
Yep.
6 successes.
As you look out, this looks like out of a fairy tale, but you're able to process it as looking like out of a fairy tale, and it doesn't even remotely begin to overwhelm you. With 6 successes, you gaze upon the majesty of the hedge and are able to take it in and focus on the blood that's out in front of you.
I mean, it's fucking weird, but and then I look at I say over my shoulder, and then I look down at the blood. Does it seem to be a trail, or what is it?
It's sort of like faint, sparse drops of, and it's definitely changeling blood. It's got that sparkle to it that denotes that it's supernatural and probably changeling.
And does it lead out into the hedge?
Yeah.
Close the door. Turn around. Right. Well, it looks like whatever took them that way, which means that if we're wanting to help, some of us are going to need to go out that way. I guess let's see if anyone else has adverse reactions. If you want to take a look out and see how you feel.
I wonder if that's someone who got away, though. Maybe someone was injured and managed to escape into the hedge.
Possibly.
Do you know the people who lived here?
Vaguely. I helped get them set up. I didn't know them like very well, but I knew them a little bit.
Paul sighs and says, "All right, well, no time like the present," and he'll wince and look out the door.
Only resolving composure.
Huh, 3
successes. Yeah, it's a little bit much to take in at first, but you eventually manage to focus yourself, and you just have to like stop and take a breath. But again, you sort of take in this grand majesty and this sort of fantastical environment that you find yourself staring out into.
He sighs shakily and says, Okay. I think he'll also pull out his phone and take a picture.
Sure.
If the phone works. While people also
There's no signal in here, but you can take a picture. You're not certain how it'll come out, but
yeah, that's kind of what he wants to find out.
while people are acclimating themselves to the hedge, I am walking out to talk to Eamon and Nina. However long that takes for whatever conversation they're having, plus whatever happens here.
Well, first Nina steps out, and then about 30 seconds later, Eamon steps out.
You're right there, love.
I'm fine. I'm good.
If what I overheard leaving, it looks like the trail leads out that way, and I'm guessing you're
That
not
is correct. It does.
You're not wanting to come along with that. Look, I'm all for protecting Colleen as best we can, and
maybe sending her into Fairyland is not the right idea.
Oh, I'd say that is definitely a risky proposition, to put it lightly. The thing is, A, she's a person and can make her own choices, and B, so it's not like we're sending, it's more like she's coming along of her own volition. Other thing being, she has a bit more magic in her pinky finger than even the rest of us.
Oh yeah, I know she can stop us. In regard to the first one, I'm sorry, no. She's a 16-year-old girl who does not have the... I don't have the emotional maturity to make that decision. She sure as fuck does not. Especially since she's been sheltered from any kind of danger for the entirety of her life.
I mean, that's a fair perspective to have. What I was getting at is that honestly, if we're sending her to Magic Land,
we need as many bodies to throw in front of her as possible.
I was going to say that she's far more likely to walk out of there alive than any of us.
Or get co-opted by whatever is there.
I mean, we've got a fairly ancient Nazi vampire who had her in his control for quite a bit of time and wasn't able to co-opt her. And he's still traipsing around out here. I'd rather have her somewhere else. If the rest of us... Look, I'm just saying,
if the world ends because we let the walking magic MacGuffin go into dark fairyland, that's on us.
I mean, if the world ends because the rest of us were off trying to help a bunch of fucking fairyland victims of who knows what, and there was only one person to keep an eye on, Colleen, that's on us too.
It's less on us. At least we tried.
I mean, you could say we tried by keeping her with us and not, splitting up whatever we've got here. Mostly what I came out here for, though, was to talk to you and see if you were coming, and if not, take the knife back because somebody's going to need it.
You know what? No, I'm good. Let's go murder some fairy people.
You got a good heart, Nina.
No. What?
You got a good heart, Nina. It's in the right place. All right?
I'm a terrible fucking person, and we all are, but I appreciate the sentiment. Let's go.
I mean, I don't see how the two are mutually exclusive, but all right.
Okay, that's a valid point.
And we go back in.
probably right as Sean is heading out to meet you, actually.
As I step out the door, I pull the Thunder 5 off my hip that's been reloaded with incendiary rounds. Pull back the hammer and point it at Nina's face. Now don't say anything, and don't do anything, and listen to me, please, or I will pull this trigger. Eamon, you too.
I just look over at Eamon.
Eamon's making a maneuver at this point, I think. Let me look something up.
While Jack is checking, this is outside, right?
Yeah, this is directly
This
outside.
is all outside.
Okay.
So just because Jack is checking, I do want to note that we're probably not heading into a hedge right now. Also because I wanted to ask Shake something. And
Go ahead. While he's checking, go ahead and ask.
Okay. You mentioned that this is a dimension, whatever. I don't mean to pry too much, but it's important in this case. If that blood was one of your allies, friends, is there somewhere specific they could have gone to or would have gone to through the hedge? Are there potentially other exits they could have used? Or
yeah, if they can make it through the hedge safely, which I mean, I won't say that's the safest environment, but it's definitely a possibility. If they kept their wits about them, they could maybe make it to a different hollow by way of the hedge, or to a goblin market, which could potentially have a way out.
I understand this probably isn't something to do right now, but it seems like it's going to be challenging for us to follow that trail. Is it possible for you to ask around if anyone saw evidence of them leaving somewhere else? Or...
I could. I'd either have to walk the hedge myself and try and find everyone, or try and go all around the city to find everyone's hollows, but I could. It'd take some time.
I understand that's not a great option then, but you may know this better than I, but it strikes me as this hedge isn't a place that we are going to be able to traverse, especially not to find someone, given it seems will seem quite impolite, but it tends to take a toll on our sanity, being as we are.
I think it might just be sort of taking it in for the first time. I think once you acclimate, it should be a little bit easier.
Right.
Well, we'll wait for them to get back and see what we want to do from that point.
Okay.
And so, heading back.
I'm gonna just continue going through the place if there's anything, patterns, rituals, whatever. Like, I can't really do a visual investigation the same way the rest of the group can, but like...
Yeah. Let's go ahead and roll me wits and occult, and then while that's happening, going back to what's happening outside.
Yeah. Basically, as soon as Nina looks at him, the kukri is out and he's going for a disarm.
As soon as the kukri gets drawn, I shoot Eamon in the shoulder. The gun's already cocked.
All right, let's roll some initiative then.
How far away is where we are inside from where this is?
Another reality, but
Yeah, it's sort of across dimensional walls.
Another world, another time.
Where is the initiative?
From what
It's right
William
above the red
said,
die
sounds
on your...
like this is a
Just
magical
roll initiative.
barrier.
you know what?
12.
Here.
No, I just want to know how long when we hear the gunshot. If we do,
Right.
I don't know.
How
that
long-
I don't know that you will
I
hear the
don't know if you
gunshot.
will hear the gunshot, but yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. So, Sean, as it turns out, acts first, so you can go ahead and fire going through.
I'm at point blank. What does that do to my?
I get my defense.
Okay.
You get to subtract Eamon's defense and his armor.
So what am
Yep,
I
so that's-
modifying to this roll?
You're dropping it by 5, and any damage will be bashing.
All right.
But that's a shotgun, so that's still gonna hurt.
It's a shotgun with incendiary rounds loaded in.
Yep.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Let me see. I gain a plus.
Isn't near the fire because he's in the hedge with us.
I am so excited for everybody to come out and there to be 2 dead bodies on the ground.
It's gonna be the community thing where Troy comes in with the pizza.
And everything's on fire.
Yeah, exactly.
I gain a +3 to my attack roll with the flamethrower shell.
And then a -5 for the for the defense and armor.
So -2 total.
Mhm.
And I do not get 9 or 8 again on the attack. Okay. So I hit.
2 bashing damage.
And as I fire, I say, if you move again, I will fire again.
All right, so I've got a disarm. What's your defense, John?
My defense is 2.
2. Strength, weapon, cookery. So that's a +1 with a spent willpower. And your dexterity rating is 4?
Yes. Oh,
Oof,
wait.
that's terrible.
I forgot to add. Hang on. I misrolled my thing because I've got specialization. Oh, wait, no, not with that. That's with a different thing. Never mind. We're good.
Oh, I've got specialization that I forgot to roll, though.
Roll an extra d10.
Okay.
So how does disarm work?
So you just take 2 lethal.
Okay.
Since I'm aiming for the hand, if I had gotten 4 successes, I would have just taken your gun away and you wouldn't have taken any damage.
Right.
But I had to, I think, at least equal. Maybe I have to exceed your dexterity. Let me check.
But either way, he didn't make it.
Either way, I
didn't
didn't.
knock it out.
So
So I just lash you across the hand with it.
And I keep the gun trained.
Well, at least you've got it pointed in the right direction now.
And then Nina.
Nina is turning around and walking towards her motorcycle.
I fire the gun at the floor next to Nina's feet. Stop and listen, or I will kill you.
You're never gonna see me again anyways. And I'm walking off.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm getting ready to fire.
This is a confrontation that I've been waiting on happening for a while now.
Because I think Nina's a witch.
So I will say that while it's muffled, I think at this point you guys have probably heard gunshots.
John thinks Nina's a witch and that she's enchanted Aemon.
All right.
What?
Well, we could have had a dialogue about that, but then you decided to walk away
Okay.
and prove his point.
Okay. In character, please.
Anyways.
All right, yeah, so it's at this point that everyone else has probably heard gunshots.
Yeah, Astrid will be running towards the gunshots.
Yeah. Paul will turn and say, "We leave him alone for 30 seconds," and is running after Astrid.
I mean, I am assuming that there is an antagonist or an enemy there.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
increasing.
That's what Paul thinks too.
Yeah. Looking to the vampire and I think at least one of us is currently using a fire weapon, so
Yeah, I'll
Another-
hang out. I'll hang out back here then. Thank you.
and another one picked something that's supposed to hurt your kind to shakes. So Colleen?
Yeah, I'm coming.
All right. I just I deliver messages about potential aggravated crossfire.
Yeah.
Make an offer to Colleen and then head through the door. Do we roll into initiative? I don't know how this works.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's all everyone roll some initiative.
Initiative something.
I assume we're all just keeping our.
Yeah, you guys keep yours.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so
I've got the third lowest.
at the top, we start with Paul, followed immediately after by Colleen.
All right. I guess I should roll for Paul, because I mean Paul is running along, and
so you enter into the scene and you see Nina walking towards her motorcycle, Eamon looking confused at Sean, and Sean with a gun trained on Nina.
Can I tell that Eamon has just been shot?
Yeah, there's a
scorch mark on his shoulder. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Sean is standing with his back to me.
Yeah.
And the gun clearly trained on Nina.
Yep.
I'm gonna shoot him with my taser.
All right.
Oh man, we're the worst people.
I don't know how to do this.
On the sheet it says attack roll. Like attack roll, and then if you have the taser filled out in your weapons list, select the dot next to it.
I don't, because I didn't think I was gonna have to shoot anybody with it.
You also probably have a penalty associated with your one-eyed thing. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, can I get close enough to hit him with it?
Let me look at equipment real quick.
Okay.
Taser.
You definitely get within range.
All right.
Weapon. Firearms.
Pull up the.
Taser isn't in the.
No, it's
in the armory book.
It's the ranged stun gun. So you subtract 1 from your roll.
God, it's in other handguns, right?
It's on page 93.
93.
Yep.
All right, I put gun. Let's see if this works. And it's at a -1.
Yeah. So you'll be rolling dexterity and firearms -1.
I also have ballistic vest, which does something.
Not against a taser, I don't think.
Yeah. It already does bashing damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, 2.
All right. So that inflicts 1 level of bashing damage just flat right now. And then every turn that you just hold it, it does another 3 levels of bashing damage just automatically fixed.
Does it should I have added any damage in for the taser?
No. That's what the -1 was. That was the taser damage.
All right. Pulp, I think, legitimately thinks it's just going to drop him immediately.
Yeah, tasers don't work like that in World of Darkness, unfortunately.
No, I know, but I mean, I think Paul thought it would.
I think, well, it depends on the old version. If you do a number of bashing damage more than your stamina, you're stunned for the round.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this is also...
Yeah.
This is something new that Paul bought like a couple weeks ago. So he has not field tested this thing.
Oh yeah. Sean has a pair of electrodes in him, and you just sit there and hold the trigger and hope he can't get him out before he drops down.
Right.
And then
Colleen, I think?
at this point it's Colleen. Who runs out and sees what's going on. I need to roll several different rolls for her to figure out how she's going to react to this. First, I need to see how quickly she can piece together what's going on.
Can we shout something to her?
Yeah.
Paul just said, "Something's possessing Sean."
I appreciate. Oh my god.
Oh my god. Okay, so she rolled really well to figure out what's going on. Rolled 0 on her self-restraint roll. So,
Oh, God.
Yes.
Let's see how this ends.
God herself is going to bitch slap this party's nonsense, and I'm here for it. Sorry, go ahead.
I need to roll 10 dice here.
Dear God.
With 6 successes, this is going to be interesting.
Oh shit.
So Colleen kind of runs out,
I always knew I'd die in a magical backlash.
sees what's going on,
Mage! This would be so bad if it was a mage.
and you see her kind of struggling with the situation. She's like, just fucking stop! And she screams it, and the arcane lines on her arm begin to glow. And there's this, her hair stands on end, and there's this pulse that radiates out from her. And just for the next 4 blocks, lights go out, generators shut off, batteries die, the gun jams, everything that can malfunction and stop working for like 5 blocks just stops.
Guess that taser doesn't hurt too much anymore.
No, it doesn't. I'm fine now.
And everyone who was in the middle of doing something freezes in place. You're able, it's not like you're frozen like whole person, it's just whatever cognitive impetus you had, like whatever you were intending to do, just wipes out of your mind and you stop. And she's just kind of standing there shaking.
Does it come back, or am I just sitting here as a statue forever now?
No, like you are able to think again, start doing a thing again, but whatever you were in the middle of doing, you just stopped doing.
Okay.
For like a round or
Yeah,
Yeah,
like-
essentially,
I think I'm next on the initiative order.
yeah, essentially a round of nothing goes by where everyone takes in what the hell is going on.
So I have a question. I was heading through the door about the same time Colleen was,
Yeah.
from what I understand. Does the portal to the hedge also stop working?
Trapping Drew and Shakes on the inside, and Astrid on the inside.
Yeah, actually, I think
let's not forget the
I
vampire
just don't
trapped
know
in the hedge.
where I am relative to that and if that happened. Because I'm totally down for being bisected by a hedge. But I want to know that before I tell you what I want to do with my turn.
I think you barely managed to make it out of the door, but I think the door does shut and stop working when she does that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna kill you from that, but I think
So Astrid, Archer, and Shakes are trapped in the hedge still.
yeah,
Astrid was the first one running.
yeah. Astrid
Astrid
was
would have gotten out. She just has a lower initiative.
No,
yeah.
it's just the changeling in the van.
It's Archer and
Oh, no.
Archer and
Oh,
Shakes are trapped in the hedge.
I'm sorry, I asked.
Archer and Shakes are in the hedge right now. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's a sitcom waiting to happen.
Hell yeah.
They're just like, and the door left. Okay. Yeah. So I get out, see this, immediately lose track of what I was doing. And then
Yeah, all the technology is still blanked, but you guys get your faculties back after essentially a round.
Okay,
Okay.
we need to be clear about this. When you say technology, define.
Anything mechanical, including the gun, is not working right now.
So a knife is not technically a mechanical.
A mechanical is a sharp, pointy object. Yes, you can still stab things with a knife.
It's the jam weapon gift.
Right.
Yeah, essentially.
Coming this fall to NBC, Hedging Your Bets, starring Asher and
I'm
Chase.
gonna check on Colleen because she just blew everything up. Are you okay?
I just sort of slowly turn around.
She's visibly shaking, like just kind of like her hands are up near her head.
Sort of.
Her hair is still kind of floating in the air for a second, and the lines on her arm are still glowing.
Reaching out, trying
yeah.
to comfort her, but also shield her from. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. No, because it's still initiative rounds technically.
Yeah,
Your
that's
turn.
what I thought. Sorry.
Sorry, I was trying. Yeah, I forgot that for a moment.
Trying to, I guess, protect Colleen from. I don't know. The party seems to be fighting, so whatever's happening with that.
Yeah.
But also offer her something to ground herself on.
And then next up will be Astrid.
And Crowley is probably in the hedge.
Probably in the hedge, yeah, actually, with the vampire in the change.
Oh, good.
Vampire, a changeling, and a
I feel like that makes more sense that he wouldn't have come out right away.
Yeah, there's a vampire, a changeling, and a hellhound in the hedge right now.
I mean, if you're gonna do the sitcom right, they do need their demon dog.
Right.
I am so on board with this.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're up next, Astrid.
Am I coming up behind Sean?
Yes.
Okay, she's gonna try to knock him out with the back of her axe.
All right.
Like, okay, when I say back, I mean like the wooden end, not.
Yeah, it's like the pommel.
Yeah.
Make me an attack. What's your defense?
My defense is 2.
Yeah, so with -2.
So
Okay, should I do-
what does my armor apply?
The armor also subtracts from the attack roll.
Okay.
Right.
So that'd be a -4.
Now, you don't have any defense right now because you've been subject to two attacks that your defense applied to already.
Oh yeah, so you have just
So
a
you
-2
lost.
from your armor.
So you had full defense against mine. You had 1 defense against Spanners. So now you're down to 0.
I'm trying to figure out why I've got multiple. Why do I have a number for melee and ranged if the range doesn't subtract from ranged attacks?
It does.
Then you should have had a -5 to hit me with the, you should have had a -4 to hit me with the taser.
Oh, okay.
Not a
I thought
-2.
the teaser was being done at point blank.
That's 2 damage.
Yeah.
Fair
Yeah. So 2 bashing damage.
I'm just trying to figure out how armor works. Because
Yeah.
my armor seems to be I'm being told my armor is useless and not useless at the same time.
Sorry, yeah, your armor always applies. Your defense is the thing that can go away as you take more attacks.
Right. And yeah.
So,
And ranged attacks usually don't suffer from defense.
So it would have been a -4 for the knife attack. It's okay, whatever. It's too far gone to fix it, but I'm trying to figure out how it works.
Yeah. But for now, you take 2 points of bludgeoning of bashing damage,
I'm still up.
Yep.
You're a sturdy boy.
I'm a sturdy
which
boy.
then brings it to your turn. Actually,
So being just like, stop attacking me! Nina's a fucking witch. As I try to fire, and my gun fucking jams. Click, click. I drop the thing. I just drop the gun, pull out my knife, and I'm gonna bash Eamon across the head.
I know you already attempted to fire for the round, so
Okay, yeah, fine.
Eamon.
She's not a fucking witch.
Is that all
And
you do?
he honestly just puts his hands on his hips and stands there looking at you like you're an idiot. What the fuck makes you think she's a fucking witch?
You can do it when it comes back to my turn.
And you can cast out witches anyway. Did you try that? Did it work?
It takes like an hour to do that.
You've had more than an hour since you've met the bitch.
Nina, it's your turn. What'd you say, Jeremy?
Nina just sees all this going on, sees the number of people who at the moment are at least look to be trying to keep her from being murdered, and assumes that she's moderately safe as she turns around and goes to walk off again.
The
Like
Back to-
in this sort of dazed sort of, yeah.
Paul.
Paul will say the taser is definitely not working.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul will shout to Nina, just get behind something until we can stop him, and we'll go up and try to grab the rifle, I guess.
Oh no,
He's dropped the gun.
I dropped the gun.
Okay. Then I'll go up and try to grab one of his arms.
All right. Roll me strength and athletics. It's a new round, so minus his defense.
Not my strong suit. All right. That's an attack roll?
I have no idea.
Or just a regular roll?
Yeah, he said. Yeah,
for,
it's just
for grappling.
it's just strength and athletics -2 for the defense.
All right.
Technically, it's strength and brawl, but
Or strength. Yeah, strength and brawl. Yeah, whatever.
Even less my strong suit. I actually don't have any points in brawl.
So minus. So that's another -1. So -3 total.
it'll put in the
minus
-1
3
for not having dots, but yeah, it'll.
What's your strength score, Paul?
It's 2.
So you have a chance to die.
So you just roll it. You make a chance roll.
Okay.
Unless you want to spend
Let me
willpower.
just do that then. 0. Wait, oh no.
It was so close. It was a 9.
No,
It
but
could've-
that actually even rolled the.
Yeah, but it would have been with an additional -2, which would have put you at a chance die. So
Yeah, so it rolled chance. That's the 0
Yeah,
C
if
on
you,
that.
that's the
if you
zero.
hit the button that says chance, it will just roll it as a chance roll. It
Oh,
will
okay.
roll
So,
one thing,
and that's what I have selected. So it did the right thing.
yeah, I did the right thing. Yeah, I got it.
All right.
Which then brings it back to Colleen, who is like grounding herself and kind of looks around at what's going on. Can we please just stop? Why is everyone fighting and walking away? Please just. That's her entire round.
Paul shouts back, "We're working on it. Don't worry. It's just."
Paul's like on my shoulders, trying to hold me still now. It's just like,
We're working on it, Paul says, continuing to attack.
I'm not attacking. I'm trying to calm.
Is she doing anything else on her turn?
No, that's her entire turn, which brings it to Drew.
Okay. I am going to emphatically, deeply glare at all of the people who are still squabbling. Because I can only glare in one direction, and I'm not great at aiming that. I'm not gonna try and glare in like the door frame where Nina is as well, but like it's implied. And just try and keep comforting Colleen, possibly like moving her a little more out of the trajectory of any of the fighting people, if she is willing to move at all.
Yes, he sort of faintly nudged her off to the side, just a little bit away from the fighting.
Yeah.
Which then brings it to Astrid again.
She's continuing to try to knock Sean out.
The way hunters solve party conflict. Oh god.
so it'd be so. Does my defense and armor apply to this, or what?
Let's see. Yes, your one of your defense and your armor.
So
So
-3.
Astrid will need to make that roll at a -3, I
I
believe,
thought
right?
we decided
Okay.
armor was like 2.
No, it's all the same thing.
Because damage is your damage on the weapon is part of the roll that you make to attack,
Right.
as opposed to a separate roll.
Okay. Damage.
3 bashing.
Okay, that turns 1 bashing into lethal.
Oh, so you're full up on bashing?
Yeah, I'm full up on bashing now.
That's when you have to start making stamina rolls, I think.
I just know that it automatically turns one into lethal as well because it overflowed.
Yeah.
Stamina what?
Just roll your stamina, I believe.
Yeah, if you make any successes, then you stay upright, but if you don't, then you fall unconscious.
Nope, I'm out.
Yay!
No, it's not subject to wound penalty. Take that -3 away.
Yeah, just make it a simple roll. Make it a simple roll of 2 dice.
Simple roll stamina. Yep.
I'm still out.
That didn't roll anything.
That didn't roll any dice.
Wait, why? What the fuck are you?
0 dice for 0 successes.
It automatically applied the -3 wound penalty when I rolled the stamina.
Yeah, so just add a free modifier to it, so you're getting rid of the wound penalty.
There.
No
successes.
successes.
I'm out.
I love the semi-cinematic nature of this, where I envision us like the live action as well as us all around the table. All right, I'm out. No, you need to shit. Okay, she hits him again. All right, I'm out. No, you still need to shit. She hits him again. Okay, I'm actually out this time.
I rolled 3 ways. All 3 said out.
And I think with the primary combat actors disposed of at the moment, I think we're A, out of initiative, and B, going to end there for the week.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Dive into the ocean's hope at the fading of the day. Aquatic kaleidoscope, see the colors sweep and sway. Down in the deep, deep blue, rebuild my world anew. Waves keep on washing over me. Swim out, glide into the open. Cool are the currents of the sea. Swim out, deep into the ocean. I carry the means to mend amid the fathoms and the foam. This ocean, it has no end, and I'm a long, long way from home. Down in the deep, deep blue, rebuild my world anew. Waves keep on washing over me. Swim out, glide into the open. Cool are the currents of the sea. Swim out, deep into the ocean. Waves keep on washing over me. does it